returns to the lineup, and the Hamilton defense will be out for blood in the rematch next. Calgary, Alberta, home of the 2000 Grey Cup game and home tonight of the finalists in the last 2 Grey Cup games. It's a rematch of the rematch. Hey, pour us one on the CFL Live. Actually, don't pour these guys one there. They have issues enough already. James Duthie along with the 3 tenors, Eric Tillman, Matt Dunnigan, and Chris Schultz. Thrilled you could join us tonight on the CFL Live, and we do have a great one. Does it feel a little bit like late November today? Probably does, because that's usually when these 2 teams hook up. Each one of the last 2 Grey Cup games. I'd call this a rubber match, but that's a little premature. They might just be doing that late November in Calgary. So for now, it's just a warm-up anyway, and for Calgary, they have their main man back.
And thank goodness. They can't drop another one. That'd be 4 in a row. Dave Dickinson is back, but is he back too soon? Is he healthy? Is he going to be able to do the things he's accustomed to doing? That's buying time with his feet and also moving the chains with his feet. Dave Dickinson is a scrambler and a thrower. He's a settling factor for this football team. But if he's not healthy, Chris, I think he's going to take a pounding from the Hamilton Tiger Cats tonight.
Well, then this game depends on how Calgary approaches it offensively. Are they going to help Dave Dickinson? Well, you got to do 2 things. Number 1, change the pocket from play to play and change the protection. 3-step drops and then sprint them out. Change that pocket every play. Use play action passes, and if you've got to go straight back, then you got to keep your running backs in and help them. But more than that, don't get behind early, because that will test Dave Dickinson's competitiveness. Then he will scramble, and then he's going to get whacked, Eric.
And Chris, and after a so-so start, this Hamilton defense is coming on strong. All those rookies on defense, 7 of them have gained valuable defense, and now they get Gerald Vaughn back, just cut by the New Orleans Saints. This is a physical defense, a physical secondary, and I think the key tonight is to knock those Calgary receivers off their routes, affect the timing of the passing game, force Dickinson to hold the football. Let guys like Monfort and O'Shea pound him. If they do that, they win. It's tough to win in Calgary, but I like the Ticats, James.
I hope you've been whacked in a football way, not a mafia way, because that would be awful. Let's show you our starting quarterbacks. We talked about them, brought to you by Robin's Donuts, still rocking after all these years. Dave Dickinson was the leading passer in the CFL till he got hurt. It is now Danny McManus. It always seems to be Danny McManus. There is Dave Dickinson, the knee a little bit wonky, but he's smiling and he's ready. It's the Grey Cap rematch. Kickoff coming up.
He is 5'8" and steel town tough. Archie Amerson is still finding out just how good he can be. Joe Monfort already knows he is the best at creating fear among the quarterbacks he runs down.
Playing with pain is a reality for every player at this time of year. Dickinson is in, but not 100%. So the pressure tonight falls squarely on the shoulders of Jamie Crysdale and the rest of the Stamps offensive line. They have to dig in.
We're in Calgary and set for the first Grey Cup rematch of CFL 2000. Ticats won last year, the Stampeders the year before, and there's still a good chance these 2 teams might meet for a 3rd year in a row. It's calm here tonight. The balloons are going straight up at McMahon Stadium, a beautiful 22 degrees, and the artificial turf is dry.
Ticats, under the leadership of the legend Ron Lancaster, are currently in first place all alone in the East, a point ahead of Montreal, who lost today to Winnipeg. The Ticats have won 4 of their last 5.
Stampeders have lost 3 in a row, something that has happened infrequently in Wally Buono's 11 seasons. Under Wally, the Stampeders have never lost 4 straight. We're underway at McMahon, and Archie Amerson has the ball for the Tiger Cats. He's having a super season, and this is a great way to kick things off tonight in Calgary. 25 on the return. Danny McManus leads the CFL in passing yards and in interceptions. McManus will miss his favorite target, Darren Flutie, tonight. Tony Akins will take his spot. Amerson is having a career year. Ron Williams, number 2 in rushing yards. And Corey Grant at one wide receiver spot. Andrew Gregg at the other. Up front, Seth Detman, Gary Brown, Carl Coulter, Chris Burns, and Dave Hack. Starting lineups are brought to you by Midas, your auto service experts. Tiger Cats. First and 10 just inside the 35. On target, first pass. Andrew Gregg has it from Danny McManus.
Defensively for the Calgary Stampeders, Shante Peoples is tied for second in the CFL in the sack department with 7 on the season. Alondra Johnson anchors the middle of that linebacking core. In the secondary, some heat on Marvin Coleman. Didn't have a great game last week versus Edmonton.
Had a tough time on special teams in particular. 2 fumbles led directly to Edmonton scores. McManus on the ground for Ronald Williams, and he runs into a wall. Shante Peoples is celebrating with a whole pile of Stampeders down there.
Yeah, Shante Peoples and Joe Fleming, big improvement to the Calgary Stampeders defensive line. In fact, Ron Lancaster said coming in, this is probably the best challenge they faced all year as far as the defensive front four with Joe Fleming, Shante Peoples, Jeff Traversy, and Ray Jacobs.
Paul Osbaldiston in his 15th CFL season. A one-hopper to Marvin Coleman, and he dives across the 30 and draws a flag.
Marvin Coleman really struggled last week.
4 yard. Hamilton, number 40. First down.
But says he'll make amends here tonight.
Dave Dickinson has watched from the sidelines as the Stamps have sputtered in the last 2 games. Dickinson is back with his number 1 receiver missing. Mark Boerichter fills in for Travis Moore tonight. Alan Pitts and Vince Danielson start in the slots. Kelvin Anderson at running back, and up front, the offensive line really has to pick things up and protect Dickinson tonight. Kelvin Anderson had a good game last week against the Eskimos in Edmonton, and he's out across the 40.
Defensively for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Joe Mumford leads the league in sacks with 11 on the season, and they think they have a keeper on the opposite side of the field in Mark Word. In the secondary, Gerald Vaughn is not listed as a starter. Chris Schillings will start at halfback, but Gerald Vaughn will see a lot of the game. He's back from a tryout in the National Football League.
Kelvin Anderson picked up 9. This is 2nd and 1. Stampeders trying to get across the 40. And easily done there. So it'll be first down, Calgary. Anderson in behind Jamie Crysdale for the first down.
Well, John, no question the key for the Calgary Stampeders in this game is to try and keep Dave Dickinson on his feet. He is not 100% healthy with that knee. One of the ways they can do that to help him in the passing game is to keep Kelvin Anderson involved. We've said it many times with the Calgary Stampeders. If you have a good running game, it protects your passer when he tries to throw the football.
Anderson again. And he's met heartily this time.
And he was really the bright light last week's loss to the Edmonton Eskimos for the Calgary Stampeders. Kelvin Anderson back on track, over 100 yards rushing in that game, and was really the only positive aspect offensively for the Stampeders. In fact, offensively for the Stampeders since Labor Day.
Yeah. 131 yards last week, although the week before in the loss to Edmonton here, he was not used a whole bunch as a running back. Woodson limited the gain to 0. This is 2nd and 10, and here comes the charge. Dickinson has got. Anderson has the ball sliding out of the backfield, and Dickinson took the hit and got it away for Kelvin Anderson.
Well, Dickinson, that's the first hit he has taken in this football game, and not only did they want to eliminate sacks against Dave Dickinson, but also hits just like this. Yes, he did get the football off, and he did get it to Kelvin Anderson, but Joe Mumford hit him low, And that's where, obviously, that area of the knee, which is a concern. He's got a knee brace on that right knee, and you see Mumford pull him down. The more hits he takes like that, the more chances that Troy Kopp will be back in this football game.
Gain is 14 yards. Stampeders drive continues. Dwayne Ford for a couple. And he ran into middle linebacker Willie Fells, making his 10th start for the Ticats. Well, here's what we're looking for tonight.
Wow, with Hamilton, no question, you got to look for Archie Amerson. In every game this year, he's had a big play over 20 yards. Protect the pivot for Calgary. We just talked about the importance of keeping Dickinson on his feet. And hey, hold on. Both teams have had turnover problems over the last 3 games. The team that makes the fewest mistakes tonight will win the game.
2nd and 7, Stampeders. There was early movement, and the flags are down. Dickinson is wrapped up, then escapes. Dave Dickinson takes it across the 45-yard line, and we'll check out the infraction. The gain will be about 4 yards if it stands for Calgary.
And it's a first real test for Dave Dickinson on that knee, just to see if he can run like he used to be able to. He said he's not concerned about being hit as much, although Wally Buono is. He's not as concerned about being hit. What he's concerned most about is, will I be as mobile as I was before the injury?
Hamilton, number 97. Repeat 2nd down.
And he really did move around pretty well in the pocket on this last scramble, and he wanted to test it out early just to see how mobile he will be. He broke a tackle there, made a little cut there, so not 100%, but it looked like he has a little bit of mobility.
Mark Ward, who was offside, came back and made the tackle on Dickinson. This will be 2nd down and 2. Dickinson will put it up, looking quite mobile there, and he's on the money. Aubrey Cummings made the catch just outside the 30.
Well, very important for the supporting cast of the Calgary Stampeders tonight to pick up their game. Aubrey Cummings has got to step up and have a huge game with the absence of Travis Moore from the lineup, and he's going to be a target that Dave Dickinson will look to early and often. He's got to come up with a big game to make up for the loss of Travis Moore, who will be back next week, but was their leading receiver coming in tonight.
Yeah, he's had a super year, 11 yards in the last play for Cummings. Stampeders. The Ticat 32, nice play action fake. Dickinson steps up. There's a little room to maneuver. And he ran into a Ticat as he tried to make the cut there. Montford was in the area, and so was Mark Ward.
Well, the word on Word is that he's a power guy. I mean, he is a straight bull rush power rusher at 285 pounds, bigger than Gonzalo Floyd, the guy he's replaced in the lineup. But they really like him in the way he complements the opposite side, which is the side, of course, that Joe Mumford lines up on.
Loss of a yard, thanks to Mark Word, making his 3rd CFL start tonight. Dickinson 2nd and 11. Here comes Montford over the middle. On the money. Down at the 29. Andre Arlane comes up with it.
Again, Andre Arlane will get a lot more reps in this football game that he's seen all season long. He had just 3 catches coming into tonight's game for 30 yards. He does have 1 touchdown on the season, but look for him to come in and be that extra receiver for Dave Dickinson in this offense. Travis Moore is a huge loss, but they do have great depth in the receiving corps for the Calgary Stampeders.
Gain is 14. Stampeders have a nice drive going. Set up at the Hamilton Tiger Cat 20. Dickinson has looked sharp. Out pattern to Alan Pitts. His first catch of the night.
Well, here's a guy, John, that really has to pick up his game. We talked about Travis Moore being out. Well, in the last 3 games, which happened to be losses for Calgary, Alan Pitts has just 6 catches for 97 yards total and 0 touchdowns. That is not typical Alan Pitts, the greatest receiver in Canadian Football League history. He'll have to do a whole lot more of that tonight. Calgary wants to have success.
Alan Pitts has 5 in the previous play. This drive began at the 32. 2nd and 5. 3 receivers into the end zone. And 1 wide open touchdown, Calgary. Vince Danielson. Danielson was saying no one is happy around here with the way we played in the last 3 weeks. And he has the first touchdown of the ball game.
Well, no one is happy, and this is a veteran group that knows how to turn it on. They know how to get past the slump, get past a couple of bad games. They've not been in this position before where they've lost 3 straight under Wally Buono. They've never lost 4 straight under the coach, like you mentioned at the top of the show. So everybody, I'm sure, in this locker room for the Calgary Stampeders took it upon themselves to make sure they take care of the little things, and the little things will add into the big things, which is wins, and that's what you're looking for.
Nice drive for the Stampeders, finished off by Mark McLaughlin there. Vince Danielson has the first touchdown of the night, and the celebration is on.
Danielson's going to layer in behind him. Watch what the linebacker, Willie Fells, is going to do. Willie Fells thinks they're going to go right here to Alan Pitts, and he jumps up to double team Alan Pitts. When he does that, he leaves an opening for Vince Danielson in behind in the end zone.
Danielson's first touchdown catch of the year. Johnson bobbled it momentarily at the 15. Has to double back, and after that, he's surrounded. Very impressive for Dave Dickinson. 5 for 5 passing in the scoring drive for 58 yards. Wow. Danielson, a 14-yard catch. He used 5 different receivers to get to the end zone.
Spread the ball around, and they look like a different team offensively when Dave Dickinson is at the controls. No question about it. He was having a banner year and on record pace before he was hurt midway through the Montreal game 3 weeks ago, and they look like a completely different offense under his leadership.
No question about that. McManus and the Ticats will try and respond beginning at the 27. McManus back in a hurry. Quick release as always. Mike Morielli. And he's dropped at about the 32 after a 6-yard gain. McManus has thrown a lot of interceptions compared to the touchdowns so far this season. 21 interceptions, 15 touchdowns. Last week, 12 of 26 for 209. No touchdowns, but he won the ball game.
Yeah, and a couple of interceptions.
Well, he did have a touchdown last week.
And
that's correct.
And that's why we talk about the turnover ratio and who wins that turnover giveaway takeaway ratio tonight will be the victor.
Yeah, he had the big touchdown to Archie Amerson. Flags are down. Oh! Hangs it out there for Corey Grant. We'll check on the infraction.
It's in the offside area. It's in that offside area, but offside or procedure. What a catch by Corey Grant.
Offside. Calgary. Decline.
This will stand for 29 yards.
Sure, he'll decline that. I mean, not bad coverage, but Corey Grant just uses his great speed to run under the football. Anthony Pryor does a pretty nice job of catching up. He misses the jam at the line of scrimmage. He doesn't get his hands on him, but what a tremendous catch by Corey Grant to keep concentration on that football.
Went for the highlight reel there.
Oh, yeah.
And almost 30 yards to gain. Ticats set up inside the Calgary 50. Far side, open target. And he's gone. Andrew Gregg has done that a time or two. 48 yards, just blazing speed down the far sideline for the touchdown. Alan Grigg, I'm going Alan here. Andrew Grigg, third of the season.
Well, we got Alan Pitts on the other side. We got Andrew Grigg on this side. And what a catch. And you know what? He took advantage of a busted coverage from the Calgary Stampeders secondary, because no way Andrew Grigg should be this wide open on the out and up pattern. Someone made the mistake in that secondary.
So McManus answers in a hurry. 7-7. McManus to Gregg for a 48-yard touchdown. We're all even at McMahon in Calgary. Scored impressive touchdowns, and here's the Ticat kickoff. Brock Preston waits just inside the 5. Nice haul for Preston, still standing as he crossed the 40 and dropped at the 47. 43 on the return, and Brock Preston back in the lineup after missing a week or so.
John, you starting to get that feeling that we may see some big plays offensively in this football game with Danny McManus, one quarterback, and Dave Dickinson the other, and then of course you got some talent on special teams, and Brock Preston taking this one up the middle.
picking his way, taking his time, letting the block set up, and then just making some moves in the open field. This might be who gets the ball last in this one.
Well, I'm hoping it will.
That would be great.
Dickinson scored for the Stampeders on his initial drive. Here's Kelvin Anderson on first down, and he's got at least 5.
The plan for Wally Buono heading into this game was to use a newcomer in the secondary, Udom Biasso, off the practice roster, Saskatchewan Roughriders, and he's the newcomer in there in his very first game. You're going to see him, oh, they're right there, number 23 right here is supposed to be outside and in deep coverage. He's not there. Andrew Griggs says, uh-oh. Now, the plan was to use him as the extra DB. That plan may change. He makes a couple more mistakes like that.
2nd and 5. Dickinson puts it up. Alan Pitts has it. And that'll be another Stampeder first down. Dickinson has looked very sharp for another 16-yard gain there, hooking up with Alan Pitts. Couple for Pitts already.
Well, Donald Smith is the halfback for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, number 19. Donald Smith, throughout his career, and that's been a 9-year career in the Canadian Football League, has been a corner. And he has played a couple of games now at halfback and has held his own. But whether or not Donald Smith can do that against the best receiver in Canadian Football League history is another question.
Slight delay. Kelvin Anderson stopped initially and then found his way to grab about 3 yards. It's a little easier for George Cortez, the offensive coordinator, with Dickinson behind the center.
Well, no question. Dickinson has command of this offense. Troy Kopp in his last 2 games showed that he obviously does not quite have a grip on exactly what George Cortez is trying to do. And they brought in Mike Cawley. He's not dressed tonight, but he may be dressed next week. They have to make that decision in a week's time.
Dickinson perfect so far. Looking at 2nd and long. He'll be short of a first down on the connection with Alan Pitts, depending on the spot of the ball, but we'll see how short he might be. Nope, they're marching it on.
You know, I truly think that Wally Buono and the rest of this team have got to put a lot of pressure on this offensive line for the Calgary Stampeders. It's an offensive line that came into this season, you know, with a lot of praise. Everyone had very high expectations for this offensive line, and they really haven't played up to standard in the last 3 games.
Pitts needed 9 and got it. First down, Calgary. Boerichter. Nice run after going up to make the catch for Mark Boerichter. Lots and lots of weapons. 14 yards for Boerichter, making his first start as a Stampeder.
The Big Chill got out there and made a huge block down the field on Donald Smith. Watch how he comes out here and gets on number 19. The Big Chill is going to get the body on him. If you can get your body on him on a little defensive back. Watch this block right there in the middle of your screen. Look at that. Donald Smith right on roller skates. Whoa, that's a mismatch for Calgary.
Dave Dickinson, 8 for 8, 97 yards. And threatening to score again. Flags are down. Make it 9 for 9. Not quite. Thought it was there. Dickinson is on the carpet again.
Well, Dickinson
no catch.
Looked like he hit the helmet of one of those pass rushers. Might have been Joe Mumford, because they were offside. Looked like Hamilton was offside. I don't know if they were drawn offside, but they were definitely in there early in that 1-yard neutral zone.
Offside. Hamilton, number 97. Repeat first down.
That's Mark Ward again. And Montford was on a charge.
Well, yeah, he watched Montford working on Rocco Romano off the edge, and he was offside. And he's the guy, see, Dave Dickinson on his follow-through got his elbow and his wrist across the helmet of Montford.
1st and 5. Kelvin Anderson tries to cut the corner. He's got the end zone. Kelvin Anderson.
The shootout is on. The shootout has begun. 3 series, 3 touchdowns.
Pretty nice beginning to this football game. Kelvin Anderson has the touchdown.
I hope that horse has a lot of water. Looks like it's going to be one of those games.
That's Old Blue. Anderson's first rushing touchdown of the season, as strange as that may seem. touchdown for touchdown so far. Ticats get their hands on the ball after the convert. Stampeders at home at McMahon have Kelvin Anderson rolling into the end zone. It's 14-7 on CFL Live. Our touchdown run for Kelvin Anderson. Let's bring in Ken Chillibeck, who's down on the sidelines.
Thank you very much, John. With me is the Stampeders' top receiver going into this game, Travis Moore, but he's not in the game. Travis, why aren't you playing tonight?
Oh, my ankle just didn't come around in time, and we decided it'd be best to let me rest.
What a game so far for your quarterback, Dave Dickinson.
Oh, yeah, we're out there clicking. I think everybody's stepping up to the challenge. You know, our coach made a few challenges this week, and we got our leader back. I think a little confidence, more confidence is in there today. The guys are out there really playing with a lot of heart.
Travis, when are you going to be back in the lineup?
I don't know. You have to ask my therapist, Pat Clayton, about that.
Well, we hope you're back in soon. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. John, back to you.
All right. He is a great one. Having another career year, he just seems to put those back to back.
Yeah, knowing Travis Moore, it's an ankle injury, but knowing the competitor that he is, he won't be out for long.
Well, and watching this receiving core tonight, he won't want to be out for long.
Yeah, you know, you don't want to ever give up your spot.
Not a chance that Travis Moore can't win a spot with this team, but when you look at what Dickinson has done offensively in the first two sequences, you can see how gifted this team is with a proper quarterback at the controls. Here's Danny McManus, first down Ticats, Ronald Williams.
Oh, yeah.
And well read and played by Darrell Hall.
Yeah, and Ray Jacobs. Ray Jacobs got out there. Hall makes the tackle. He fills. He does the linebacker fill position, and Ray Jacobs is in charge of containment. Everyone has a job on the field, both offensively and defensively, and Jacobs makes the play to make sure that Ron Williams turns inside, and when he does that, number 4, Darrell Hall, see him step up in there and take on the block. Look, Jacobs turns him in, Hall slides over and makes the tackle. That's team defense.
Loss is 5, so the Ticats are pushed back to the 17 on 2nd and 15. McManus with time, he's intercepted. Jackie Kellogg, touchdown Calgary. 28 yards for Kellogg.
That is huge, John, for the Calgary Stampeders for a couple reasons. Obviously, they get that big touchdown, but the other reason is they had not generated a turnover in 10 quarters of football. The last time they generated a turnover was in Montreal 3 weeks ago on a block punt. Jack Kellogg broke the streak, and he broke it in a big way.
Second interception of the season for Kellogg, hampered by a bothersome hamstring. Well, here though.
He has played hurt in the last 2 games, and that hamstring is still tender, but it is coming around this week, and he shows some pretty good speed on the sprint to the end zone.
28 yards for the touchdown. And the Stampeders are on top. 20-7. Make that 21 a 2-touchdown lead for the Stampeders. Scoring play, Jackie Kellogg from Danny McManus, 28-yard return, end zone, touchdown. Start for the Stampeders.
Well, we talked about it. The takeaway giveaways. Danny McManus is a quarterback who will always throw on time. He's a timing quarterback. He wants to throw that ball in the break of the receiver. See Corey Grant in behind. That's the guy he was looking for. Jack Kellogg didn't even move. He didn't move an inch to his left or right. Danny McManus threw it right to him. He didn't see it. He was looking through him to his receiver, and then he couldn't get over there to make the tackle. Shante People picked him up.
22nd interception tossed up by Danny McManus.
Well, the one thing you know when you play Danny McManus at times is he is streaky at times when it comes to interceptions, is that you might be able to get a few, but that doesn't necessarily mean you will win the game, because he has found ways to come back and win after throwing some interceptions.
He's thrown 9 interceptions in his last 3 games, and he's won a couple of those.
You know, it won't change his style at all. He'll just go back and throw those timing patterns like he always does. It's awful difficult to cover as a defensive back a timing pattern. When the ball is in the air before the receiver comes out of his break, it's very difficult to cover because you just can't guess. And the only way you can really stop a play like that is if you guess. Now, if they run the wrong pattern or you're in the right position by accident, that's where you get that interception.
McLaughlin keeps it away from Emerson. This is Jeff Johnson, number 33, has a nice run, returning it out across the 40 to the 43, and McManus gets another crack at it in a hurry to try and get over that interception. This guy does not stew about the problems. Interceptions to him are just a part of the game.
Yeah, and it's part of his style. I mean, it really is, and you wonder why he's not sacked very often. No matter what team he plays on, he's not sacked very often. Well, the reason that is because he has a quick release, number one, but number two, he throws on time. That ball is gone before the receiver gets to the spot. He throws to spots on the field. Sometimes that costs him.
He's only been sacked once so far in 2000, and 7 times last year was the CFL record. Pump fake once, and fired that into about row 2. Final play of the opening quarter with a solid start for the Calgary Stampeders on top of the Ticats by 2 touchdowns at 21-7. Statistics, 97 yards passing for the Stampeders, 1 turnover against the Ticats that goes for a touchdown. Time of possession is big too. 10-23.
Well, yeah. Hamilton Tiger Cats, a lot of that passing yardage came on one play to Andrew Gregg. Calgary has controlled the football and kept that Hamilton defense on the field for the whole first quarter, basically.
First play, second quarter, McManus has his hands on the ball again. Down by a couple of touchdowns. The heat was on. Almost intercepted. And who got it? It bounced out of the arms of one Stampeder and into another. Eddie Davis got it the second time.
It was an overthrow.
Back-to-back interceptions by Danny McManus.
You have an overthrow across the middle. This is always going to happen. 9 times out of 10, there's a defensive back around there somewhere that's going to be sitting there waiting for the freebie. Pass rush forces McManus to maybe throw it when he wasn't ready, but that was a tough throw to make. Look at all the defenders of the Calgary Stampeders that were around. He was trying to thread the needle.
Eddie Davis actually catching that twice. It was into his mitts and out. Stayed with it and made the interception.
This is a big series for that Hamilton defense.
Alan Pitts couldn't get out and around the corner. He couldn't get around Sean Woodson, 17. Gain is 3 yards.
Well, this Calgary offense is firing on all cylinders. They got Calvin Anderson involved early on. Calvin Anderson also had his touchdown in this game. His first rushing touchdown of the season, and all he does really is outrun Joe Mumford to the end zone. Mumford has contained, but Mumford was too close to the line of scrimmage, and the speed of Calvin Anderson got him there. So they have him involved early in this game.
2nd and 7. Dickinson stands in, can't find a target. He's down for the first time. First sack.
Well, that's huge, John. I mean, it really is huge for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Mike Philbrick comes up and finally gets some momentum back for the Hamilton Tiger Cats because they needed to step in and make a big play. If Calgary drives this football, they can really put another nail in that coffin early in this football game because they've got out to the huge lead, but Philbrick comes up with a big play.
Actually, the second sack, Dickinson down twice. Johnson and Amerson are deep. Aikens returning for the Tiger Cats, and he only has about 4. 53 yards on the punts. Stampeders off to a hot start at McManus when we were here last time on Labor Day. And the Eskimos were in town pounding the Stampeders. Stamps have a 2-touchdown lead. Ticats have the ball, and this is Ronald Williams. Stopped in his tracks. Cut from behind, Joe Fleming.
Well, Danny McManus may throw too many interceptions for some people's liking, but I'll tell you what, it does, when he quick releases that football, doesn't allow a lot of teams to get sacks on him.
Yeah, that's a CFL record.
Last year's CFL record, just 7 sacks allowed from Hamilton Tiger Cats. This year, they have allowed just 1 all season long. That is the upside to a quick release and a timing quarterback. The downside is
23 interceptions.
Couple picks, yeah.
At this stage. It never seems to bother McManus, who had his best year last year. On the money this time. Corey Grant.
I've always said that for defensive backs, whenever we were in a slump in the defensive backfield, you have to keep things at a high level. You have to say, all right, you know what? Interceptions usually come in bunches. The Calgary Stampeders secondary had not had an interception since mid-August when Greg Freres intercepted one. Now, they've got 2 tonight already. They come in bunches sometimes.
8 yards, enough for the first down for the Ticats at the 30. 4 receivers near side. McManus quick drop. Akins makes the catch. That's Tony Akins in his second CFL start. Had to go high to bring it down.
One-hander, and that, you know what makes that even more difficult for the quarterback is he has to go up and catch it with one hand, hang on to the football, but also keep one eye on the secondary and what they're doing. He still has to read that defense. Tony Akins in for Darren Flutie in this football game.
2nd and 7, Ticats. Snap a little high again. Morreale in traffic, couldn't hang on. Tight coverage on Mike Morreale.
See, and that's just an example of Danny McManus not letting 2 interceptions bother him. I mean, he just went right into traffic again. Anthony Pryor is right there breaking on the football, and McManus doesn't care. He's going to try and strong arm it in there to Mike Morreale, who has a chance at it, but Pryor knocks it out.
I'm not so sure Morreale didn't make a wise move there and try and bat it down with those 2 guys around the Pryor and one other Stampeder defender. Last ball is good. Not deep. Coleman waits. It's bouncing to him at the 32. And he steps out of bounds near the 45 after a 12-yard return. Stampeders have the ball again and a 21-7 lead on the Tiger Cats. A crowd at McMahon Stadium for the Ticats visit. Next home game for Hamilton is against the Blue Bombers, September 23rd. There's the number to call. 714-7627 or roar right into the telephone.
Hey, congratulations to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Beat Montreal earlier this afternoon.
Yeah, how do you figure this league out? Dickinson, 9 for 9 so far. A couple of touchdown tosses. Kelvin Anderson wrapped up by O'Shea in the backfield. Loss for 1, maybe 2 yards. Stampeders' next home game against the Rough Riders. I'm betting this will be a sellout October 6th.
Wow, the Saskatchewan Rough Riders, are they the hottest team in the Canadian Football League right now?
They are.
4 straight wins. We'll see if Edmonton can beat BC. Game going on as well tonight. Edmonton also on a roll, but boy, Saskatchewan
has won 4 straight. Edmonton definitely on a roll, but,
yeah, but
they haven't won 4 in a row.
No,
the Eskimos.
Saskatchewan looks better and better every game out.
2nd and 11.
Here they go.
Dickinson won't get a chance to put it up. He was hammered to the turf by Sean Woodson. 3rd sack by the Tiger Cats. Actually, Clifford Ivory coming through on the...
Clifford Ivory, the extra defensive back, shoots through the gap and is full speed. Alan Pitts is trying to pick him up and lost him in the mix. Alan Pitts was he's supposed to slide down and get him, but watch, he loops around. Alan Pitts loses sight of him, and that's what you call the lookout block. You go in there to block, you miss the guy, you turn around to Dickinson and say, look out! You're gonna get it.
He got tossed to the turf by Clifford Ivory. Here's Martino's kick. He hasn't punted much tonight. Corey Grant returning. Flags are down on the far side as Grant tries to turn the corner. Oh, what a block there. Corey Grant ran out of real estate and is out near the 45.
Couple of flags now. There's one thrown late as well. There was one over at the point of attack, likely an illegal block, but then there was one thrown late, and I'm not sure if Corey Grant wasn't hit late when he was out of bounds. Take a look at what the officials sort out here after this play.
Well, there are 2 markers down, one on the far side, one on the near side of the field.
But through all that, there was a huge hit down there by Willie Fells on Aubrey Cummings. He's pretty pumped up about it. He doesn't care about any penalties or where the ball ends up.
Definitely a very physical linebacker, number 40.
He's over there just saying, hey, everyone see that hit? Let's get a little fired up. got the big cast on that left hand and still out there playing. Everyone's playing hurt at this time of year. You got to play through the pain.
Ron Lancaster has the Tiger Cats in a nice little roll. They've won 4 of their last 5.
Calgary number 23. Major foul. Unnecessary roughness. Calgary number 36.
Whoa.
Both against the Stampeders.
Double whammy against Wally Buono.
This might give the Tiger Cats a little more life.
It is the most violent game in the world.
Couple of penalties in this return by Corey Grant for Canada.
I'm hungry. There's some popcorn back there. We got to get some popcorn.
And a super start for the Calgary Stampeders, but this could be the opportunity the Ticats can take advantage of and get right back in within a touchdown, or at least a little bit closer than 14 points.
Well, usually when they need that big play, they look for Amerson.
A couple of penalties set the Ticats up here. Andrew Gregg makes the catch and only grabs a couple of yards. He ran out.
Well, you know, with that play to Andrew Gregg is setting up a big play down the line. I mean, you have to think that Archie Amerson will be involved down the line, because on that play, that little swing pass out there, a little hitch to Andrew Gregg, Amerson was asked to go out there and block. Now watch for him to fake that block later on tonight and head down the field.
7 of 12 for 97 yards and a couple of interceptions already tossed up by McManus, but he does have the 48-yard touchdown toss to Gregg. McManus stands in, and another one is picked up. Pryor down the sidelines. He could go all the way. One man to beat, and he's out at the 2-yard line. Anthony Pryor in and out of the hands of a Tiger Cat receiver.
They come in bunches.
Yes, sir. You just said that, didn't you?
And this one was not Danny McManus' fault. He has had, first of all, had to handle high snaps all game long. And when you have to handle a high snap, watch the snap get way up there again. You have to handle that high snap. You take your eyes off the coverage. Now, this ball was on the money, goes right through the hands of the receiver and into Anthony Pryor's, and he's gone.
79-yard interception return for Anthony Pryor.
Well, huge hustle from Archie Amerson just to keep him out and give that Hamilton defense a crack at trying to hold Calgary to a field goal attempt, but 1 yard out, it's be a lot to ask.
McManus has tossed 3 interceptions. 2 have gone for touchdowns. Stampeders are going for 2 here. And there's no problem with a 2-point conversion. Kelvin Anderson. Oh, I'm sorry. I got carried away here. It was down to the 1. I thought it was the touchdown there.
Yeah, Kelvin Anderson finishes it off. Anthony Pryor took it right down there. Amerson knocked him out of bounds just in time. But Kelvin Anderson walks in untouched, and that's a dejected defense that has to come out on the field again after an interception and try and keep Calgary out of the end zone. Not going to happen very often.
Not from the 2-yard line. So Kelvin Anderson has a couple of touchdowns tonight. And Mark McLaughlin has 4 converts. Stampeders are definitely on a nice little roll as they look to end a 3-game losing streak.
Well, you know, the first 2 interceptions were McManus' fault. That one was not, and this is the result of the 3rd interception of the game. Dwayne Ford with the big lead block at the point of attack, and look at Anderson. He's not touched till he's 2 yards into the end zone, and even then he's just kind of brushed, not really even hit. Big Dwayne Ford with the lead block.
And an easy touchdown for Kelvin Anderson from 2 yards out after the interception.
O'Shea takes on the block from Rocco Romano and can't regroup, and when he does, Dwayne Ford is standing there to knock him down again. He's tough for a linebacker to take on 2 blocks. You got to try and get your defensive line to hope that they will fight for 1, and then you have to take on 1 guy. But Kelvin Anderson takes it in for a 2nd on the game and his 2nd on the season. It's a rushing touchdown.
Well, we knew that if Dave Dickinson was back in the lineup, he would lift the spirits of this Calgary Stampeder team, and everyone would play just a little bit better. I think you're seeing that tonight, the way he spread it around. But then the defense has come up big with 1 touchdown return and setting up another one.
Well, the difference between winning and losing so close at the professional level, I mean, it really is just sometimes an attitude, sometimes a level of confidence. And when the Calgary Stampeders come into this game with their starting quarterback back in the lineup, everybody's confidence level goes up just a little bit, and that can be the difference. It doesn't have to be just on the offensive side of the ball. It could also be on defense, and the defense is making big plays tonight. Is that a little bit of a smile already from Wally Buono?
No, that's not a smile
No,
yet.
that's not yet. No.
7:42 to go till halftime. Wally's not. He's feeling better, though. There's a guarantee.
Can we say grin?
You might say grin.
Okay.
Well, and Mike Roach is definitely grinning down there, the defensive coordinator. His boys have 1 touchdown and another setup. This is Akins returning for the Tiger Cats. He's got great speed and tracked down by Rock Preston, number 14. Tony Akins has a 44-yard return. Anthony Pryor has his 2nd interception of the season.
Well, Anthony Pryor has made big plays in his first year in the Canadian Football League. He leads the Calgary Stampeders coming in tackles, and Danny McManus throws this one through the hands of the intended receiver right into Anthony Pryor's hands, and away he goes. 2nd interception on the season, and really solidified the corner when William Hampton left to go down to the National Football League. They were looking for another corner, and Anthony Pryor fits the bill.
79-yard return out at the 2-yard line. Ticats first down after a nice return. On the kickoff, this is Ronald Williams. Williams has not been able to get on track tonight. Stampeders proving very tough to run against.
Oh, Ray Jacobs is having himself a game early. He really is dominating that line of scrimmage and doing a job. You don't really talk a lot about Ray Jacobs because when you have Shante Peoples and his 7 sacks on one side, Joe Fleming in there, he has 4 sacks on the season. Jacobs is having a great year. 5 sacks, but it's the little things that he does that people don't notice, and that was one of them, stopping a running play on first down.
Rushing yards for the Tiger Cats, non-existent so far.
Yeah, Ray Jacobs is a big part of that.
2nd down. McManus really has to put it up. Fakes one. Morreale makes the catch, and he's hammered at the 31-yard line.
Hello. Udon Biasso's getting himself into this first game and trying to make up for the mistake he made early in the game when he let Andrew Grigg in behind him and steps up and makes a pretty nice hit on Mike Morreale. Or Morreale. Biasso. Morreale. There we go. And down he goes. Whoa, that's solid. That's both feet planted from both players. Good way to break into the league.
25 yards to gain. McManus look to the corner, and there's a flag down in the Ticat backfield. Looks like it's against the Tiger Cats. Grigg was the intended target.
Joe Fleming was coming pretty hard.
Holding. Hamilton, number 67. Repeat, first down.
And Gary Brown got called on the holding. In for Mike Mihalik, rookie in the Canadian Football League. He's a big guy, 6'4", 330 pounds. And, you know, whenever you see that in the program, and they're in the 330s, add about 20, 30 pounds in reality. Because that's, you know, the big guys want to be small, the small guys want to be bigger.
Well, you want to be big and look big. You want to say you're a little thinner because that makes you sound faster, right?
Singers want to dance, the dancers want to sing.
Here's Ronald Williams' first reception for a big game on 1st and 20. And he's got 12 back.
Well, we haven't seen a whole lot of Ron Williams, and when we have, the Calgary Stampeders defensively have had an answer. Ray Jacobs almost single-handedly has stopped the running game. Mike Roach signaling out the next one. He says, all right, Jacobs got the signal from the sideline, and he's ready to go. You love that. Stare down your opponent a little bit.
2nd down, about 8. Slight delay to Ronald Williams. They got maybe 3 with a fancy move in the middle, but Shante Peoples was there.
I'm not sure why Ron Williams decided to turn left like he did. He just hit that left turn signal in a hurry. It looked like he had a hole when he hit the line of scrimmage.
It disappeared. This drive will end with a Ticat field goal try.
But what it did, though, is it stopped the bleeding a little bit. Ticats answered with a touchdown after the Calgary first touchdown, but then it was 3 straight for the Stamps.
Paul Osbaldiston hammers one through, and the Ticats creep a little bit closer to the high-flying Stampeders, who have a comfortable lead for now at McMahon in Calgary. Ticats have not won a game here since the 80s.
Wow.
And Lancaster won a few and lost a few down here in his Edmonton days.
I missed that in the notes. Wow, that's a long time.
Now, Lancaster wasn't in charge of all of those tough Ticat losses at McMahon.
And he did win the big game last year between these two teams in neutral territory in BC Place.
Just not a lot of success here. Brock Preston and Kelvin Anderson drop deep for Paul Osbaldiston's kickoff after the field goal.
What a kick.
Sailed it right into the end zone. Kelvin Anderson goes down.
It's a big kick with no wind.
It's a big kick, and it's very seldom that you can kick one that far for a single.
Well, not without
here
wind.
at McMahon without wind. It's very seldom you'd come to McMahon and it's called.
Yes, doesn't have any wind. Well, this is a game coming up next Friday night that I can't wait for. Calgary Stampeders and a red-hot Saskatchewan Roughrider team.
Those two teams had a pretty good tussle earlier this season.
104 points scored in that game.
52. And the Rough Riders are a lot better than they were that night, or at least looking much more confident with 4 wins in a row.
Boy, do they ever look good. They offensively have a lot of weapons. Burris is on fire, and that young defense is starting to play together and starting to believe.
Kelvin Anderson, nice spin.
Kelvin Anderson, number 32.
Wrapped up by Mike Philbrick, who's having a great year for the Tiger Cats up front.
Just while we're on that, full credit to Danny Barrett and how he's been patient with a very young team early in the season, didn't panic, and now he's starting to reap some of the benefits. And congratulations again to Mike Pinball Clemens.
Yeah, that was quite a night at Skydome.
Last night, his final game in pads, and will now take over full-time as the head coach. But it was a special night for Mike Clemens. I know he would have liked to have finished with the win, which didn't happen, but congratulations to Mike Clemens on a tremendous career.
2nd and 7. Dave Dickinson hasn't missed yet. This time he keeps it on the ground. The ball squirts loose, and 2 Ticats are on it quickly. Kelvin Anderson lost the ball, and it looks like Mike O'Shea may have come up with it.
What are they saying? They're trying to sort it out down there, and they are going to give it to Hamilton.
Well, I heard the whistle after the fumble.
They're trying to figure out if he was not down. The Big Chill's in there trying to talk the officials into changing that call, and I don't think he's going to get it done.
The ball definitely came loose, and it was a matter of who jumped on it. Watch here.
He hits the hole. Now let's see when that football comes out of there. Woodson with his hand. Now he wasn't down, and that ball was loose. It was still up around his shoulders, but he didn't have control of it. Fumble goes down, and you're right. Michael O'Shea was right there to jump on it. So a big chance for Hamilton here to grab some momentum. Sean Woodson in his 6th start in the linebacking corps. Time in the NFL in Oakland and Philadelphia, and makes a big play. Gets some momentum for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
McManus after the turnover, right on the money for Morreale. Nice run after the catch. He's hammered at the 20-yard line.
McManus almost knocked Mike Morreale over with that throw.
Had a lot behind that.
And that's one of the reasons that he throws a lot of interceptions, is that he has such a strong arm. He forces it in there sometimes.
3 minutes to halftime. Ticats have an opportunity to creep a little closer to the hot starting Stampeders. It's 28-11. Cats are creeping a little bit closer and get a chance here with a first down set up at the 20-yard line into the final 3 minutes of the opening half. 4 receivers to the near side for the Tiger Cats. McManus has Akins, and he's inside the 15.
He's putting some zip on that football now, and it makes it a little difficult for the receivers down the field, but Akins hangs on, as did Morelli on the play before. Very hard throw over the middle, so
Morelli was lucky to hang on to that.
well, McManus is trying to beat defenders with the strength of his arm. Just trying to gun it in there and force it through some tough situations. He's been caught 3 times.
Game was 7. This is 2nd and 3. Ticats at the Stampeder 13 now. Out of the cover, McManus will get the first down as he connects with Archie Amerson.
Well, this is what we're talking about early in the game. Amerson has been doing this same type of pattern all game long. He just sort of gets out there in between the slot back and the wide receiver, and he's just working the soft spot in the zone.
Flag down on the previous play.
But Archie Amerson is the big play guy in this offense. So they're not going to make a living off of him.
Offside, Calgary number 84. Chop clock, Hamilton number 67. Repeat, 2nd down.
So we'll go back to 2nd down.
Well, you're going to see the
Wally Buono was up, making a point. 2nd and 13. Ticats. Just over 2 minutes till halftime. Manus has time. Nice catch, Mike Morelli, rolling down to the 5.
the Calgary Stampeders don't think it was a catch. And you know what? They're going to rule that it wasn't. Did he have control when he went across the middle? Morelli made a tough catch over the middle.
I thought he did.
Yeah, it looked like he had it initially, but he never really has control. He catches it and he pulls it down towards his body, but he never really has control. And the official was right on the spot, and that umpire was right there.
Yeah, I think it was a good call overall.
Alan McColeman makes a nice call.
Greg puts it down. Osbaldiston hammers it through, and the Ticats have to settle for 3. But they now have the deficit at 28-14.
You see Archie Amerson in behind Ron Lancaster there. Archie Amerson got to be getting a little bit frustrated. He's been really a big play player, and we haven't seen him down the field much. See, he's just wondering why he's not being involved. In situations like that, you just got to keep believing that they're going to go back to it. He's having his personal best year receiving the football with close to 1,000 yards already on the season. Like I mentioned earlier, he's had at least one play over 20 yards in every single game.
He's averaging 164 all-purpose yards per game. Dickinson, though, has the hot hand so far tonight.
Dave Dickinson throws completely.
Vince Danielson made the catch. And there is quite a difference in this football team with number 15 at the controls.
Yeah, no question about that.
Perfect so far, 10 for 10.
Well, he's still on an incredible pace, even though he's missed 2 games due to injury. He's on the same pace to break the Calgary record for touchdown passes in the season.
Kelvin Anderson. And he's across midfield.
You know, when you get a hole at the line of scrimmage, it's not going to stay there for very long, and that's why when you're running back, you have to have great speed. Kelvin Anderson is like a 4-5 guy that's legitimate. Watch him hit the hole, how quickly he gets in there. The hole is open for 1,000, 2,000, and bam, he's gone. Can't see that? Michael O'Shea gave him a split second in that hole, and that's all he needed to pop through it.
Good for a 13-yard gain. Stampeders across midfield. Just into Ticat territory. And he threw that one away.
And that's the difference between Dave Dickinson and Troy Kopp at this stage in their career. What they wanted out there was to fake the hitch pass to the sideline to, I believe it was Mark Bullrichter, fake that and try and go down the field, see if they can't catch Hamilton flying up and trying to stop the short pass. But when it didn't work, Dave Dickinson wisely just threw it out of bounds.
First incompletion thrown by Dave Dickinson. Second and 10 at the Ticat 54. Aubrey Cummings couldn't bring it down.
And Rob Hitchcock was looking for the hit. And had he been thinking about the football and the interception, he may have had one. The ball was high, and I think Hitchcock had the radar set on number 87, lock and load, and he was coming up to make the hit, and the ball kind of, see, he's looking at him, going to hit him, and the ball slipped through and hit him right in the right hand. He wasn't even looking at it.
Martino is in, standing near his 42. Amerson, one of two returners ready. That was Aikens. Face flags are everywhere.
Definitely be a face mask. Hamilton will get some more field position out of this with lots of time. A guy like Danny McManus to get some more points on the board before the half, because that face mask will tack on some yardage. There's another flag on the field as well. See if that one is against Hamilton.
Might have been Andre Arlane who got flagged for this one.
I don't think it was intentional. He went to make the tackle and just hooked onto the face mask, but see what the other penalty was.
Illegal block. Hamilton, number 33. Major foul. Unnecessary roughness. Face mask. Calgary, number 82. First down.
Well, you'll see the Andre Arlane face mask right at the point of attack. Number 82 is trying to beat to the inside, so he reaches out just to try and grab onto anything. If there's a good penalty, that's probably a good penalty, because if he gets outside of Andre Arlane, he's got lots of running room. He's also got Clifford Ivory out there to make a block for him, so that's what you call a good penalty.
Just over a minute to go till halftime. Ticats at the 31. McManus with time. Andrew Gregg made the catch.
Right now, it doesn't look like the Calgary Stampeders are doing anything special defensively against Archie Amerson. They're usually just letting either Jack Kellogg, the halfback on one side, or Eddie Davis, the halfback on the other, to cover Archie Amerson. A lot of teams will try and double team Archie Amerson, try and take him out of the game because he is such a big play threat. And Mike Roach has confidence in his halfbacks that they can handle the job.
First down, McManus. One hop that one on the far side. Looking for Corey Grant.
Yeah, just watch what Eddie Davis does to Archie Amerson, and this has been all game long, and this is why he was so frustrated on the sideline. Watch this. Eddie Davis, the right halfback. Look at this. On the line of scrimmage, good square shoulders, stands him right up on the line, not letting them get anywhere. That's not a sniff of open field for Archie Amerson.
No catches for Amerson so far tonight, and that's a bit of a surprise. But I'm sure the way he's been playing, Stampeders had a pretty close look at him in preparing for this one.
Yeah, and the challenge is to the halfbacks, Davis and Kellogg.
This is 2nd and 10 Ticats at the 45. Less than a minute to go, and no one was home there. Amerson might have been the closest receiver.
Yeah, and there it was again. Eddie Davis again. He's using his hands well. And Eddie Davis right now has decided that he's not going to give cushion, or he's not going to back off of Archie Amerson and try and cover him from a cushion position or just off him 2 or 3 yards. What he's going to do is come up and challenge him. And if a defensive back does that, what he's saying is, I believe in my speed against your speed. He's really using his hands well. Archie Amerson tried to go down the seam, and Davis jammed him, didn't let him down there.
Marvin Coleman back at the 15.
There's Marvin Coleman. Had a little problem on special teams with 2 fumbles at Commonwealth last week. Wallace Baldiston. Oh, this is Aubrey Cummings, who ran into his own man. a blocker down there.
Yeah, Dan Disley, I think it was, it just got pushed way back.
Only 8 on the return.
Well, unfortunately for Dan Disley, it took away a lot of yardage for Coleman, and it also doesn't count as a tackle for Disley. See, that's not a tackle when you get your own guy. Okay, so
well,
Coleman,
it's better than the fumble.
So Coleman's over there going, wait a minute now. Okay, I got 12 guys to beat on the other side of the field. Now,
got to beat my own guys too.
I don't want to make it 13.
Dickinson on target, a heavy hit in there.
Watch out. You don't want to be dancing across the middle like that.
Cummings again. Oh, couple of solid smashes in there.
We mentioned why at this time of year every player is playing a little bit nicked up. Well, hits like that.
Dickinson is wrapped up and down.
And that.
Joe Monfort was there.
Monfort's going to get credit, and it's hits like that. That's why everyone's playing hurt this time of year. Dickinson got bounced around a few times, and Monfort ended up finishing the job. You know one thing, word on the outside, he has the first crack at him. Joe Monfort knows how to close the deal.
And he did there.
Yeah, he knows how to close it.
Coming into the game, leading the CFL with 11 quarterback sacks.
He'd be your leading salesman if this was a sales team. He'd be your leading salesman because he can close the deal.
Yeah, if you want to get your foot in the door and close the deal, send number 53. 25 seconds to go with a return here. The Tiger Cats may get a shot at 3 more before the first half ends. Cats on top, 28-14. 1 touchdown by the defense, 1 setup on another interception. Amerson draws a pile of flags and takes about 10 seconds off the clock.
Couple of plays for Danny McManus at this point. He needs about 25 yards, I would say 20 to 25. Osbaldiston capable of long field goals. Longest last year was 55. Longest this year is 52.
Holding. Hamilton, number 87.
Oh, that hurts.
First down.
Well, that hurts.
That makes it just a little more difficult, 10 yards further back.
Well, it really changes things because rather than be very aggressive and try and throw it down the field, now Danny McManus has to think about that interception again. He throws another one now, and the Calgary Stampeders, depending on any type of return, will have a crack at a field goal. So has to be a little bit more careful with the football at this part of the field than he did when he had the ball without the holding penalty.
Ball is spotted inside the 29.
At the Hamilton 29.
Ronald Williams plows his way for about 5.
Yeah, and that's why, I guarantee you, if Danny McManus had the ball where they would have had it, which was about the 45-yard line, he might have thrown the football and been a little more aggressive with it, but now they're going to run the ball to Ron Williams and likely try and get out of this half, keep the score right where it is, 14-point difference.
Well, it looked a lot bleaker for the Ticats at 28-7. They're within a couple of touchdowns with a half to go.
Oh, yeah, they're nowhere near out of it.
That will be the last play of the opening half. Lots of entertainment for a full house of Stampeder fans. A few difficulties for McManus and the Tiger Cats, but there's time to regroup. And 1 more half to go for Lancaster and company. Start for Wally Buono's Calgary Stampeders, a 28-7 lead. It's 28-14 at halftime. And on the other sideline, here's Ken Chillibeck.
Coach, just talk about the way that first half went. Turnovers costly.
Even football game, we're down 14. That's the 14 we gave them.
What do you tell the guys at the halftime?
Try to keep the football when we have it and play good defense, and let's beat them in 30 minutes. That's what we got left, so we got to get it done now.
Thank you very much, Coach. Appreciate it.
3 interceptions tossed up by Danny McManus.
1 to Jack Kellogg that resulted in 7 points. That's 7 of the 14 that Ron Lancaster just mentioned. And then he threw another one to Anthony Pryor. Later on, through the hands of one of his intended receivers, Andrew Gregg, and Anthony Pryor
almost gets to the end zone.
Yeah, sets up a Calvin Anderson touchdown, and that's the 14 points that Ron Lancaster just talked about.
Numbers on the quarterbacks. Danny McManus, 12 of 20, 187 yards, the 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Dave Dickinson, hot hand, 11 of 13 for 113. He was sacked 4 times, however. 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Dave Dickinson back.
Sacked 4 times, hit a couple of times, but didn't show any signs that the knee was giving out. So Dave Dickinson looks like he's hanging in there knee-wise, and Danny McManus just has to shake off the interception problem and get back on track.
Stampeders playing with an awful lot more confidence with Dickinson back in the lineup. And they'll get their hands on the football first as we kick off the second half at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. A Grey Cup rematch between the Tiger Cats and the Stampeders. This is Kelvin Anderson starting inside his 15. A little break there for Anderson. He's rolled out at the 32, 20 on the return. And we'll see how Dickinson responds to get the second half underway. A couple of 22 touchdowns on the season for Dave Dickinson. Coming into the game, 1 more tonight.
Hasn't shown any signs of any limping. Has the knee brace on. Hasn't really been hit low too often. And like you say, he's sacked 4 times, but none have hurt him. So he's hanging in there, and a lot of the reason for that is Kelvin Anderson, the way he's taking the pressure off his passing game.
Halfway to 100 yards for Kelvin Anderson, 51 in the first half. On first down, Anderson gets the call. Running well again tonight. Great game in Edmonton last week, 131 yards. He has 5 there.
Well, that's what 2 weeks ago, after the Labor Day game, when he was a forgotten man in the offense, he went in the newspaper, something that you don't hear of much here in Calgary, and he said, hey, give me the ball.
Yeah, nice big headline, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you know what? They were listening, because he is getting the ball and has the last couple of weeks now, and you can see the difference that it makes.
2nd and 5. Stampeders just shy of the 40. Far side, Dickinson has Alan Pitts.
Pushing and shoving going on between Big Joe Mumford in there and a couple of those offensive linemen for Calgary who are under a little bit of pressure the last 3 games.
Mumford is no doubt the CFL's top quarterback getter with 26 sacks last season, 11 on the year coming into this game.
Well, he has the whole package. He can run past you, he can run through you, and he didn't like the way he was treated at the end of that play. He went back in there and said a thing or 2.
Game was 12, another first down for the Stampeders, another carry for Kelvin Anderson.
When Calvin Anderson gets 100 yards rushing, Calgary Stampeders win the game.
That's just about a guarantee, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty much a done deal if they do.
Last week,
that was the
he
only
had
time.
131, and they didn't win.
That was the only
but
time.
But there were other contributing factors to that at Commonwealth on the Labor Day rematch last Friday night.
9-1-1, and the one was last week. He lost that one. That was the only one.
2nd and 6. Dickinson had time, and it evaporated. Montford is there. Ball squirts loose. He was sacked and fumbled the ball, and Montford has been there a couple of times tonight.
We got to get another ball. Someone get another football out there.
This one is deflated.
That one's dead. Fred Childress just fell on that one. Joe Montford comes off the edge. He has to work on Dwayne Ford, the fullback, and Dwayne Ford is a great blocker, but that's a big task for him. And oh, there goes the ball. Childress just landed on it. You got to go get another one. They got another one in there for the punt team.
2 sacks tonight for Montford, 13 on the season. Big rush, it's blocked. Ticats come up with the ball at the 35-yard line. It's still going.
Oh, baby!
Let's take it for the touchdown. Why not? Clifford Ivory has made 2 big plays tonight, and there's another one as the Ticats creep a little bit closer.
The 5 big plays in a game, what are they going to be? What are the 5 big plays in the game? Well, I would say this could be one of them, should the Hamilton Tiger Cats find a way to come back and win it. Huge turnaround on the special teams.
Clifford Ivory celebrating the touchdown.
Clifford Ivory took his time trying to get the football and get on his feet, but when he did, he split the guys and went right into the end zone.
He was down for a moment. Gerald Vaughn got through to block it.
Gerald Vaughn is the guy who's going to get in there, and he times it perfectly and gets that block point. See how he goes around? Gerald Vaughn back in the lineup and is right on the foot of Tony Martino.
And the convert is good by Paul Osbaldiston. Stampeders 28. Ticats are roaring back. They're only down by a touchdown after Clifford Ivory finds the end zone. A great night at McMahon in Calgary. Outriders trying to fire up the Stampeders, who at one point led this thing 28-7. And the Tiger Cats have roared back with 2 touchdowns. It's a 7-point game right now.
Something interesting going on down there in the Calgary return team. Big Fred Childress is leading that wedge.
Marvin Coleman beginning from the 6. And he's out across the 25 to about the 27. 22 on the return.
Well, I can understand the reason that you might want to put a 335-pound guy back in the middle of your return and just sort of lead that wedge up. But let's just see what Big Fred Childress, the Big Chill, can do on those special teams. Offensive linemen don't play him very often. Look at Big 68 up in there. He's, well, we missed that guy. We'll just kind of plow forward and see what we can get. O-line playing special teams. Don't see that very often.
He's not exactly chiseled. Childress.
Yeah, now you said that. That was John Wells that said that.
This said not chiseled. Kelvin Anderson. 51 yards in the first half and 5 more there.
Yeah, when he gets the tape, he gets the tape of this game, he might want to come over and have a thing or two to say to you, because that's how he talks.
Does sound a little bit like Barry White.
Yeah, he might come over and say, I'm not what, Mr. Wells?
I don't think we see the Stampeders. Oh, we do. We see them
yeah, we do.
Week, I think.
Yeah, you're right. And I won't say a thing to him, I promise.
Outstanding lineman in the Canadian Football League in 1998. And he was outstanding. See how I'm backpedaling?
Oh, you sure did. Oh,
Dickinson. Almost had it intercepted. Hitchcock had a shot at it, and Dickinson ended up on the seat of his pants one more time.
He took a big hit. He took a big hit that time. Here comes Dickinson, and Mark Word says, pow, right in the face. This is the Rob Hitchcock breaking up that pass. And watch the hit from Word. This is like Word up. Bang, right under the chin. You see Dave Dickinson's head snap back? You know that one hurt.
Punts used to be routine plays in Canadian football until this season. We've seen a lot blocked and gone for touchdowns. Martino gets this one away after having the last one blocked. Archie Amerson.
Can he get to the wall? No.
Has been well covered everywhere he's gone on the field tonight, including on kick returns. He lost 8 there after a 53-yard Martino punt. Last November in Vancouver, this guy was the Grey Cup MVP.
What a game that Danny McMahon has put together. 347 yards, couple of touchdowns, both to his #1 target, Darren Flutie. Darren Flutie is not in this game here tonight, but he was in that one, and he made a big, big difference in the outcome. He doesn't have a security blanket here tonight.
And that might be a bit of a problem. He's thrown 3 interceptions. But he's on the money for Griggs.
Oh, they're saying he was out of bounds.
Around and he couldn't stay in bounds.
Yeah, saying he was out of bounds on the sideline. It was what's called a throw behind. Deliberately throw it right to the back of Andrew Gregg, and he puts the air brakes on, stops, turns around, and comes up with the catch. But was he out of bounds? He caught the ball there. His foot is right on the line, and the official is on the spot. So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Hard to tell from as far away as we are, but I would say the official had it well read.
Yeah, he's right there.
So Gregg couldn't keep it in bounds. 2nd and 10. McManus looks to the near side. Doesn't run often, and he won't run here either, but he's on the money. Connecting with Tony Aikens, second CFL start for Aikens, who is actually in the lineup for Darren Flutie tonight. 17 yards the gain.
Remember Aikens last year?
In a Winnipeg game.
He came into the Winnipeg game and had like 4 catches for 4 touchdowns.
257 yards. Actually had 8 catches. 4 went for touchdowns.
Yeah, I think his first 4, though, were
Yeah.
for touchdowns, if I remember correctly. But this is a pretty nice catch in traffic. Alonzo Johnson has a shot at it. Peoples is back there. Eddie Davis is back there. And again, McManus threads the needle.
McManus to his right. Got it away just in time. Archie Amerson. First catch of the night.
Yeah, that looked like he was trying to make things up on the fly. Just didn't look quite like a typical offensive play. It's kind of crowded. Manus got to the outside on his own, but he did get Archie Amerson involved, and we've been wondering how long that would take here tonight.
Amerson has 4 100-yard games so far this season. Well, he's really coming into his own. I think he'd have to be the offensive player of the year so far with the Tiger Cats.
I agree.
First down, McManus, far side. Looking for Greg. Flags are down. Greg escapes. It's a foot race to the end zone. He doesn't quite make it.
Well, you got to give Anthony Pryor credit for continuing to hustle down that sideline and catch Andrew Gregg before he got in the end zone. It looked to me like the flag may go against Pryor anyway. He looked like he was screening him possibly and ended up catching that pass anyway as Gregg limps to the sideline.
Interference. Calgary number 37. Decline. First down.
Tiger Cats will take a 61-yard gain on the completion from McManus to Andrew Gregg.
Andrew Gregg down the sideline, gets off the jam of Pryor. Now, he does a nice job of not selling the fact that the ball's there. He very casually reaches to it. Defensive backs are trained to move to the football when the receiver puts his hands up to the football. Well, Gregg never did that. Kept running until the ball was right there, then he stabbed it. Pryor was screening him. The penalty, of course, will be declined, and they're down on the 1-yard line.
First and goal to go from about the 1.5. Flags are down, and Williams doesn't quite make it to the end zone. Tried to sell it, but not quite across. We'll check the infraction.
Well, it's a big call, and it's going to go against Hamilton for illegal procedure, which will put him back, to the 6-yard line. And now it's passing territory, and the big guys go off the field, and the receivers come back in.
Procedure. Hamilton, no end. Repeat first down.
Just a formation problem for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. They'll get that straightened out, but they won't have the same set of people in there anyway. That was the big team, the Elephants. Now they go back to the little guys, the receivers.
First and goal to go, Tiger Cats at the 6-yard line. McManus looks to the end zone. It's picked up. 4th interception of the night, and the 2nd for Jack Kellogg, who can take it all the way. No one is going to come close to Jack Kellogg here. 109 yards on the interception return, and the Stampeders restore a 2-touchdown lead.
Oh, baby. Jack Kellogg has had a frustrating season. Well, he just may have turned it around here tonight. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, none bigger than that one right there.
Tiger Cats were about to get right back into the game, set up at the 1.5-yard line. And it goes all the way back. Jack Kellogg's 2nd IC of the night. Both going for touchdowns. That one, 109 yards.
Again, a timing pattern from Danny McManus trying to throw the quick out. Didn't really even care that Jack Kellogg was in pretty good position. Kellogg reaches out to that football and stretches out that tender hamstring 109 yards later. Woo! That's a defensive back's dream come true right there.
Can't take them back much farther than 109, can you? I mean, in the end zone a little deeper,
yeah.
But this was right on the 1-yard line, and Kellogg raced all the way. McManus has tossed it up too many times tonight.
Goes to that play card. He's just going to throw this football on times. 1,000, 2, 1,000. Ball's gone. Doesn't care that Jack Kellogg is really in better position than Mike Morreale. And then it's a foot race, but it's a foot race of Kellogg against a bunch of offensive linemen. And even with a tender hamstring, Kellogg's going to win that race. 109 yards later, see ya.
Ray Jacobs really makes a nice play here, running interference for Kellogg on the return.
There's the out by Morreale, and because you're down on the goal line, you can take some more chances, and Jack Kellogg comes underneath the out, and goodbye.
Watch Jacobs coming in here, number 84.
Oh, yeah, I see him leaning back there. He's got that piano. Get that piano off there, Jack. There you go.
Didn't see Jacobs from that angle, but he's got great speed, provided the escort and slowed down the last Ticat who had any chance of catching up to Jack Kellogg.
His biggest problem now for Jack Kellogg is trying to catch his breath, because he's got to go right back out there after this kickoff return from the Hamilton Tiger Cats. So he's got to try and catch his breath, stretch out that hamstring a little bit again, and get back out there.
McManus has thrown 10 interceptions in his last 3 games. And he leads the league in that category. And that's not the first time he's led the league in interceptions.
See, that's the wristband right there that he's looking at. And I'm going to say he's probably crossing one play right off that wristband. Just say, no, we're not going with the old out pattern down on the goal line anymore. That's enough of that one.
Well, a procedure call really messed things up for the Tiger Cats when they're set up inside the 2.
Absolutely.
3 cracks at it from there. Procedure pushed them back to the 6. As you said, then they had to start thinking pass because the running game hasn't worked very well.
No, you're right, and that's a big play, and it's a very good point, because without it, they crack it in there 2-3 times along the ground.
Jeff Johnson returning for the Tiger Cats across the 20. Nice run here, and he's out at the 35-yard line. 25 on the return.
In the last 3 games, the Calgary Stampeders have managed just 42 points. Tonight, already in this game, 35, and a bunch of them because of the 4 interceptions from Danny McManus.
Coming into this game, the Stampeders went 10 quarters without creating a turnover. And that was going back to the Montreal game.
Yeah, well, middle of August was their last interception. They come in bunches. Did I mention they come in bunches?
Yeah, I think you said that a time or 2. Kellogg has a couple. Stampeders have a 2-touchdown lead, trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. McManus has Amerson, and Amerson is across the 40.
Well, it's a very good game plan set up by defensive coordinator Mike Roach against Danny McManus. Of course, Mike Roach has been around the Canadian Football League for a long, long time. He knows what Danny McManus' strengths are, and he knows what his weaknesses are. And I'm sure he coached up his defensive backs this week to say, hey, you can take some chances against McManus because he's going to throw it anyway.
Defense played pretty well against the Eskimos here on Labor Day, and not badly last week at times. It was the offense, but an overall team letdown for the Stampeders last week in Edmonton.
Well, Labor Day, they played a great game defensively.
McManus has Morreale out to the 45.
Well, he can't take it back, but he does know that he has plenty of time in this football game. Just in the 3rd quarter with over 6 minutes remaining, and you're only down by 2.
And that was a 14-point swing on the interception when you look at it. I mean, you get to the 2-yard line and you expect to go in from there in 3 tries.
The one thing you can say, though, about the rest of the Ticats is that this is something that, they've seen before. I mean, Danny McManus has thrown a bunch of interceptions and still found a way to win. So it's not like other situations where the confidence may drop.
The out far side, Greg has it, and Coleman had him wrapped up.
And this is a team that's played together for quite a while, so they know that, Danny McManus has done this before. Now, if you take any other team in this league, probably he throws 4 interceptions, a couple for touchdowns, 1 down on the 1-yard line, 2-yard line, setting up another touchdown, that the confidence level would drop out of the bottom of the bucket. Not this team. This is a veteran team that has seen this movie. They don't necessarily like this movie, but they've seen it, and they have confidence in the producer of the movie to bring them back and rewrite the script with a lot of time left on the clock.
Greg had a 12-yard gain, 6 for 146 and 1 touchdown tonight. Almost had a second. Morreale across the middle, broke 1 tackle from Alondra Johnson, and Johnson caught up to him again.
Might get a face mask on it. Now Mike Morreale wants to keep his composure on that sideline. because I believe he may have drawn a penalty. There's Coulter over there. Carl Coulter's always going to protect his teammates, but this is something that he doesn't want to get that penalty back. They've been round 1, 98 Grey Cup, round 2, 99 Grey Cup.
A win each.
A win each. They're hoping for the rubber match this year. They don't like each other.
Yeah, and it's not out of the question, although I wouldn't want to be betting on any team getting to the Grey Cup at this point in time.
You know what?
This league is incredibly difficult to predict.
Well, you know, look at the way
week to week.
Major foul, face mask.
Yeah.
Calgary number 51. Major foul, unnecessary roughness.
Whoa.
Calgary 51.
Oh boy, Alondra Johnson in his 10th CFL season.
First one was a mistake. Second one may cost him some money. And that's the guy who'll charge him. You know, and Hamilton, lucky they didn't get a retaliation penalty in there somewhere. Carl Coulter just coming over there being the security guard for the whole situation. Coulter just saying, watch out now. The face mask was there. Morreale gets up, and there's the hit. Whoa. Alondra Johnson got up and hit him again when the whistle had already blown.
That'll cost 42 yards. Ticats inside the 15, first down. Ronald Williams, and he fights his way down to about the 4-yard line.
Now there's some Ron Williams we're used to seeing. You know, not going down on the first hit. That's the Ron Williams that, you know, you saw last year and the Ron Williams you've seen at times this season. This is a team that's last in the league rushing the football, but when Ron Williams gets those shoulders low, he is awful tough to bring down and pretty good balance at the end of it to get 3 more yards. Now Danny McManus has crossed out that quick out play off the wristband.
That's not going to be called at this point.
Well, I crossed it out, but and I'm sure he in his mind has crossed it out. But he's not the type of guy to sort of get cautious down here. He's going to play his game plan.
A little shy of the first down, so the Tiger Cats get the opportunity to get a first down without scoring. They're second down, less than a yard to go here.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised to see him just run the ball to Ron Williams, see if he can't break it, if not, get the first down anyway.
There's Williams has the first down and the touchdown. Ron Williams gets one back for the Tiger Cats.
And this is what I'm talking about, is that Danny McManus, 4th interception for a touchdown, 109 yards later. For most teams, that's it. You're in the tank. Not this team.
And not this quarterback.
And not this quarterback, absolutely. And a lot of that is because Ron Lancaster knows what it's like to be in the fire. Spent a few years as a quarterback in the Canadian Football League, and the mentality of this football team is that with Danny McManus at the controls, they're never out of it.
Ticats climb back within 7 again. It's Ronald Williams into the end zone. And it's 35-28 on. Ready for the Tiger Cat kickoff after another touchdown. Hamilton keeps coming back. Preston and Kelvin Anderson deep for the Stampeders. Here's Osbaldiston's kickoff. Kelvin Anderson just inside the 10. He's out to the 31 and wrapped up there. A 20-yard return. And let's see what Dickinson can do to answer that last Ticat touchdown.
Well, the Hamilton defense must be wondering what's going on. They look up on the scoreboard and they see 35 points from the Calgary offense, but they're not sure how. Well, they know how, but they're like, we haven't been out here for half of those points. Dickinson is not throwing for a lot of numbers. Great completion percentage, but he hasn't had to because Danny McManus has helped the Calgary Stampeders out with some interceptions.
Yeah, McManus has thrown for twice as much as Dickinson, but Dickinson's Stampeders have taken advantage of a couple of errant McManus throws. Here's the heat on Dickinson. Batted down. Oh, that was just about up for grabs. It didn't have quite enough hang time.
Well, it's too bad, too, in some ways. And, you know, obviously I'm neutral up here, but I would have liked to have seen Jeff Cummins come up with that deflected pass just because, and the only reason, is to see the dance.
I was going to guess.
Just because there would have been some kind of dance from Jeff Cummins right there. Word gets his hands on it. But watch Cummins try to get it. Oh, no, he's about 8 yards away.
Was wasn't really knocked down. It was knocked up.
Knocked up.
Yeah, chance to run under it, but
little set shot there.
Cummings couldn't. 2nd and 10 Stamps. It was time, and a strikeout to the 40-yard line.
Well,
Aubrey Cummings made the catch.
Aubrey Cummings had to come all the way back to get it, and he did the right thing, but when he did it, he pulled himself, I think, inside the first down marker, so they're going to have to come out and measure it. He had to come back to the football because there was tight cover. But he had to come back about a yard too far, I believe. So we'll have to measure this one. Not even a yard. Half a yard.
Close. In your own end.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta go.
Oh, yeah.
3:26 left, 3rd quarter.
I think for the most part, head coaches, Wally Buono included, will definitely gamble on 3rd down pretty much no matter where they are, if it's a yard or inside a yard. And if it's outside a yard or a yard and a half, then the decision becomes where are we on the field, where is it in the game, and what's the score.
So the Stampeders go after it, 3rd down. Less than a yard to go near the 40-yard line. Oh, Dickinson might have made it on 2nd effort, but it was a little tougher than he might have thought.
Yeah, he did.
I think he's got it, but
I think he's got it.
Initially, it seemed that he'd slowed down a little bit, and he rolled over to his right.
That's what the decision for most coaches would be, unless you're Coach Mike Pinball Clemens, who seems to be more of a gambler the last couple of games. A few gambles last night, had a big gamble in the Winnipeg game, the win that they had out there in Winnipeg. So he's
gambled and won in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
He gambled a couple of times last night at Skydome, and really the game, they really needed to gamble to try and get back into the game, to just try and show a little something.
Yeah, they had to. They were behind, and that's how much he got the 1st down by.
Closer than we thought. What's going on the West Coast?
Well, apparently at halftime, the Lions are up 20-11 on the Edmonton Eskimos.
So you can't figure this.
You can't predict anything right now. The West is very close. The East is closing down now. Winnipeg coming on to the big win this afternoon against Montreal.
So a 9-point game at BC Place with the Lions on top as it stands right here. We've got a 7-point game. Stampeders trying to end a 3-game losing streak. And they have the advantage, 35-28.
Well, at times it looks like in this game this evening that they were just going to run over the Hamilton Tiger Cats with big plays on defense. They've had 3 touchdown leads at 28-7 at one time. But the Hamilton Tiger Cats, with a bunch of veterans on their sideline and a very veteran head coach, will not lie down.
Well, no, and look at the time left.
Well, that's the other thing.
Almost 3 minutes in the 3rd quarter. And
but I always just, it amazes me. Mike wasn't working procedure against Calgary, but it amazes me.
Calgary number 50. Repeat 1st down.
Just amazes me how the Hamilton Tiger Cats can just continue to battle through adversity like they do. And that is a sign of a veteran football team. Offense throws an interception. Defense says, that's no problem. We'll go out and do our job. Pretty even in that category.
Nice fake. And Dickinson couldn't connect with Bo Richter.
We talked a little bit about Ray Jacobs when he's on defense for Calgary. You know, right now Mark Word has been that kind of guy for the Hamilton defense. He's been involved, although it's been in a quiet way. He hasn't had a whole bunch of big sacks, but he's put a bunch of hits on Dave Dickinson. He's knocked the ball down on a screen pass that was looking like it was going to go into big yardage. And he made on that last play, Dickinson throw it over his hands. And that's why it was incomplete.
2nd and 15, Stampeders. Dickinson lost it and then fired it to an open spot, so Calgary will kick it away.
And that was Word right there again. That was on that rush. Again, that's something that won't show up in the stats, but if he doesn't get in there as quickly as he does, maybe Dickinson can pick it up, regroup, and find someone. But Mark Word won't let it happen. Last year, played 5 games with the Kansas City Chiefs. He is in there again. Again, that's not one that goes in the stats, but it goes on another bruise on Dave Dickinson. That's just one more bruise.
Martino has had 1 blocked already tonight. Tony Akins awaits. This one will come down to Amerson. Due for a big return. Archie Amerson is second in all-purpose yards so far this season. There's another penalty flag down.
When you look at these two teams and their penalty situation, the Calgary Stampeders
Holding. Hamilton, number 27. First down.
Calgary Stampeders, the second most penalized team in the Canadian Football League coming into this game. Only Winnipeg has more penalties than they do. Hamilton Tiger Cats have done a pretty nice job all year. They're ranked about third in the league. Coming into this game, had 100 penalties, so that's about 10 per game. They're at their quota right now.
McManus will begin inside his 15-yard line at the 12. Two receivers to the near side. McManus goes over the top. Morielli was the target, and a flag comes down in the Stampeders secondary.
Archie Amerson is getting very frustrated at the play from Eddie Davis and Jack Kellogg, and this time he decides that you can see them talking and getting mad at each other. Davis so far in this game has eliminated Archie Amerson, and that is frustrating for a big play
Illegal
receiver.
Contact on an eligible receiver. Calgary, number 29.
And we talked about it in the first half, how Eddie Davis has been using his hands well and being very physical with Amerson. Well, watch what Amerson does this time. He just says, you know, I'm tired of this. I'm going right over top of you. And when he does that, Davis pulls him down.
Amerson is a tough customer.
Well, yeah, but you get frustrated. You know, you're starting getting beat up physically. You're out of the football game. Sometimes you just need to do that one or two times just to blow off some steam.
Amerson draws the penalty in the first down, and that was another close one on the out to Andrew Gregg. It was Kellogg. Had a shot at number 3.
Whoa. I'll tell you what.
You told me that he was scratching that out of the playbook, and it wasn't going to happen again.
Well, the out to the outside is supposed to be gone, and it's out here. Now watch this. The out to the outside. This one's supposed to be out of the playbook. And watch. Little hitch there. And look out. That'd be the third touchdown on the season if Pryor can hang on and keep going. You might as well just look over to the left side of the field. That right side's been haunting him. That's where he is looking.
Escapes for a moment. He has Akins. Big gain for the Tiger Cats, and it was a great play by McManus to elude the pressure and pick up 20 yards on the connection with Tony Akins.
Well, it really was, John, simply because Danny McManus, number 1, is not a runner. Number 2, he's going to run out this way, but then he's going to throw it back this way. That's not easy to do, even for running quarterbacks, because you're throwing the opposite way. He's got to step up to his left. See, as he's running full speed to his left, well, that's maybe not quite full speed, but then he's got to throw it back against his body. It's a tough throw to make in traffic, and he gets it done.
That was full speed for number 4.
Okay, that was full speed. All right.
McManus always jokes about his speed. He doesn't have a whole bunch of it, but I've seen him bootleg into the end zone. Good catch.
Oh, how did he get it in there?
Mike Juhas, first reception of the ball game.
How did he get it in there? The rookie, Mike Juhas from North Dakota. How did he get it into that? There was Calgary defenders. There was a wall of them to the left of your screen. Look at this. There's a wall of defenders. Look at over the head of Eddie Davis, just in front of, I believe it was Marvin Coleman. Oh, boy, he just rolls the dice half the time he throws the football.
Juhas draws into the game after Andrew Gregg was shaken up on his long reception. Last play of the quarter. Here it goes to Ronald Williams, who finds a giant hole. Williams has a chance. He's caught from behind by Pryor. Anthony Pryor saved the touchdown for the Stampeders, and these Ticats are far from finished here. Last play of the third quarter. One touchdown separating the Stampeders and the Ticats on a great night at McMahon Stadium, Calgary. Back here, biggest run of the night for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Yeah, watch when Ron Williams hits the hole. Greg Ferris is stuck here. Greg Ferris has to plant his feet and wait for the big hit.
That sets McManus up here, and he looked for the end zone. The intended target was Juhas, and he ended up on the turf.
Greg Ferris was in a tough situation on that run from Ron Williams, and when he gets into the hole, he's thinking Ron Williams is going to lower those shoulders like he does so often
and he's going to hit it. Let's take one more look at it as he goes up into the middle. You're going to see number 12, Greg Frères. What he has to do is as soon as he gets up there, he has to plant his feet. See that? His feet are planted right there because he's waiting for the big hit. When they're planted, Ron Williams just does a nice job of running around him, and that's the big gain for Hamilton.
2nd and 10 for the Tiger Cats at the Stampeder 20. One touchdown separating these teams. Stamps had the lead. Another toss to the end zone, and another interception in the end zone. Anthony Pryor has another interception off Danny McManus. That's 5, and Pryor has a couple.
Wow. It just, down in the scoring zone. How many times have you heard you got to come away with points? And now McManus has been down there a couple times and handed it right back. Now, here's what the pattern was. I'm not so sure it was supposed to be straight down the sideline.
Remember, Juez is in for Andrew Grigg, who was injured.
See how Juez comes way into the inside, and I'm not sure if he was supposed to stay straight down the sideline, and it is his first game. Danny McManus will throw the football to a spot on the field and just depend on his receiver to be there. Like Juez wasn't there.
Ticats have turned it over 5 times. Stampeders begin at the 10. Kelvin Anderson. Must be closing in on 100 yards.
Well, good news for Ron Lancaster is that his defense has played pretty well. Dave Dickinson really hasn't got anything generated in the second half. So that's why he's still in the game. Don Southern got this defense playing better. They've got a slow start to the game, but since then they've really turned it on.
2nd and 6. Anderson grabbed 4. Nice fake. Bo Richter makes the catch, and he stopped short of the first down. Nice play by Chris Schelling, number 30.
And also by Michael O'Shea and by Harper, the corner. It was pretty good team defense because O'Shea is going to fly over there and take out all the interference. He's going to take out all the blocks. And everyone has a job to do, and sometimes your job isn't very glamorous. But when O'Shea gets over here, he's going to take out some blocks. Little fake toss there to Kelvin Anderson. Watch number 59 right there. See him? He's taking out all the blocking power and allowing Harper, Schilling to get up there for the tackle.
Martino's kick. Tony Akins for about 6 on the return after a 39-yard punt. Almost a full quarter to go on CFL Live. Ticats came into the game missing their number 1 receiver, Darren Flutie, and had to make another adjustment after that. Ken?
Yeah, thank you very much, John. Andrew Grigg sitting on the bench right now with some ice on his left knee. As a matter of fact, the medical staff working on it a few moments ago. He said he was okay, but now he kind of shakes his head. He says he hopes to get back in the game yet, so we'll see what happens. That's Andrew Grigg sitting on the bench here, guys.
Meantime, first down for McManus. He's thrown 5 interceptions. He's on the money for Morreale and a huge gain out across the 45.
Well, this is what I mean, that they don't stop believing in Danny McManus, because there were 5 offensive linemen that gave him a quarter to throw the football. It's just start the stopwatch on the time that Danny McManus has to throw this ball down the field. He looked at every single receiver, including Andrew Grigg, who, like Ken Chillibeck just mentioned, is over there on the sideline.
Grigg had 6 catches, 146 yards, 1 touchdown, and almost had another one. Stopped around the 1-yard line. McManus has Amerson, his biggest reception of the night, down to the 30. That'll be another Ticat first down. These Cats keep coming, and Amerson paid the price on this one.
The first time that he actually got a little room on Eddie Davis, but he paid the price after the catch. Whoa! Oh, baby.
Coleman
got up and shook that one off. Shake the cobwebs out of there.
14 yards for Amerson.
See you, big Marvin Coleman, trying to come back and make amends for last week's fumbles.
First and 10, Tiger Cats at the 30. And no good there. Morielli was the intended receiver. McManus missed him.
Alonzo Johnson doesn't just hit you, does he? He just,
he hammers.
He hits you, then he hits you again, then he throws you in the ground, then he kicks you when you're down there. You know, he did get one penalty for it, but that's the way he plays the game.
Well, that was a costly couple of penalties he took, because that led to a Tiger Cat touchdown and cost Calgary 42 yards.
Well, it did, but you know, I don't think you can take the personality out of a player, and Alonzo Johnson plays the game that way. You know, he wants to make sure that he not only hits you, but he lets you know he's going to hit you again.
Yeah, he'll be back. 2nd and 10. No one home there. Ronald Williams might have been the intended receiver, and it ended up in his territory, but I don't know that he was expecting it at that point.
Well, it was supposed to be the screenplay to Ronald Williams, but the timing was way off, and part of the reason for that was because Greg Frères went on a blitz, and he threw the timing off, because what you want to do is let the defensive lineman go down the field. But there's no time, because see 12 to the left of your screen, he made Danny McManus throw it too soon, so all those linemen really hadn't got downfield yet.
Osbaldiston will have it spotted at the 37. And it is good. So the Tiger Cats get within 4. It's been an interesting game, to say the least, at McMahon tonight. On gold, won by Simon Whitfield. So that's the first for Canada. Kelvin Anderson hammered at the 40-yard line by Joe Montford.
We don't know the time, but they see the same moon.
Absolutely.
We just at different times, but at a different angle and different times.
Yeah, that's into astronomy, and if we can't do math, we're way out of our league there.
Well, I can do this math. Joe Montford is getting after Dave Dickinson, because in the first half of this game, he was really moving the football 113 yards. Look what he's done so far in the second half. Just 23 yards, 3 of 6. So defense is digging in.
Penalty markers are down on 2nd and 5, and Dickinson is wrapped up. That time by Mike Philbrick, number 77.
It's going to be a costly penalty, and I believe it'll be against Mark Word. I think Dave Dickinson used that snap count effectively, and he changed it up. He'd be going on first sound a couple times, and now he goes on 2nd and 3rd sound, uses his voice to draw
offside. Hamilton, number 97, first down.
Uses his voice to draw off Mark Ward, and costly penalty because Hamilton sacks him.
He's had a couple tonight, Ward. Playing in his 3rd CFL game, Mark Ward.
Couple of starts. He got off to a great start. First game he played in against Toronto, he had 2 sacks. That's when they knew he was probably a keeper.
On the penalty, the Stamps get a 1st and 10 out of it. Cummings makes the catch.
You know, John, you talk about 2 penalties, but the timing of the penalties that is so important. I mean, that one there cost really the Hamilton Tiger Cats the football. Then you think back to the time they were down on the 1-yard line, get the procedure penalty. The very next play, Danny McManus throws an interception. 109 yards later, Jack Kellogg's in the end zone. So you think of those small little procedure offside penalties. They're only 5 yards, but the timing of them can sometimes really hurt you. Hey, hit.
Dickinson on 2nd down, looking far side. Oh! Pitts made a nice attempt at it, but the coverage was a little too tight.
Whoa,
Sean Woodson.
Fans wanted a penalty. Little corner pattern from Alan Pitts. Woodson has to hustle to recover. Pitts has a crack at it, usually makes that catch, and that's where the fans thought there should have been a penalty when he went up to his head. It was bad timing on the Hamilton blitz. That gave Dave Dickinson a chance to throw the football. Pitts had a crack at it and just couldn't come up with it.
Tony Akins, one of 2 returners for the Tiger Cats, as Martino sails this one high. It is Akins at the 12. And leading the Stampeder tacklers, this is often the case, Aldi Henry. 4-point game on CFL Live, and 9 minutes remain in the 4th.
For the next games, Calgary Stampeders and the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
October 6th. For the Stampeders against Saskatchewan. And We've got a 4-point ball game, less than 9 minutes to go. McManus and the Ticats have the ball. First down inside the 20. McManus looks one way, and he had Corey Grant streaking toward the middle. Pryor was covering on him.
What McManus did is he put all but one receiver to the left side of the formation, and they wanted to get the one-on-one and try and get Corey Grant and his great speed against basically the rookie in the Canadian Football League, Anthony Pryor. The only thing is, Anthony Pryor's having a pretty good night.
He is very solid. Has one interception tonight. Set up a touchdown. Actually, 2 interceptions. One set up a touchdown.
That's right.
Second and 10, Ticats. Crucial series here. McManus is sacked for the first time tonight. Joe Fleming.
Both defenses starting to make a little bit of a statement here, and the sack is created because the coverage was pretty good downfield. In fact, at the line of scrimmage, the secondary for the Calgary Stampeders once again are very physical, and they're not allowing Hamilton to run any of the timing plays. That's Joe Fleming right there in the middle of your screen. He's going to go one-on-one with Carl Coulter, then loop around to the outside, and is there clean. Coulter needs some help from Seth Dittman to the outside. He wants to get him there. That's a long way for Coulter to get outside.
And a big play for the Calgary Stampeders because the Ticats will kick from the end zone. Here's Osbaldiston's kick. A little heat on him. Should have been instant field position. Ozzie nailed that one. Marvin Coleman gets inside the 50 to about the 48. 47-yard punt. 14 on the return. And Fleming has his first sack of the night on Danny McManus.
See Darryl Hall there. Good jam there on Ron Williams. That's exactly where McManus wanted to throw the football, and Joe Fleming got there in a hurry.
Fleming really is a dominant force on this Calgary defensive line, playing a little bit hurt at times.
Yeah, he's been playing hurt all season, really, and he's not one to talk about it much, but he's had a few different injuries.
Dickinson not as hot in the second half, but he's on target here. Bo Richter with a great burst of speed down the sideline, inside the 10-yard line. Huge play for the Calgary Stampeders. Mark Bo Richter, 34 yards.
It's amazing what a big play on one side of the football will do for the confidence and the emotions of the other side of the football. And Joe Fleming's sack has got this team fired up, and offensively, Dave Dickinson makes a play he probably shouldn't have made. I mean, he gets some pressure on him right up the middle from Jeff Cummins. He has to kind of work around. He doesn't have a whole lot of room. Dumps it out there to Bo Richter, and look at the speed on the big man.
Stampeders are set up inside the Tiger Cat 9-yard line on Bo Richter's 34-yard reception and run.
Mark Bo Richter, who is really a true rookie in his first season in the CFL at Hastings College, is now going into his second season. In college, you really only play 8 to 10 games. And they're already at 10, so now Bo Richter is into his second season. This is usually where the legs start to get heavy. Well, Mark Bo Richter's legs did not look heavy on that play.
Well, we've counted the heads here at McMahon Stadium tonight and come up with 35,187. That's 780 shy of a sellout. And what a season it's been for the Calgary Stampeders for home games.
This is what it can be like in the CFL, and it's starting to gain momentum. Great story in Montreal, great story here in Calgary. BC's attendance is well up from last year and the year before. They're starting to crawl up the ladder, so the momentum is catching on.
And pinball drew a few more to the Sky Dome last night, so hopefully they'll come out in Toronto and watch them coach as well. Here are the Stampeders. Chance for a big finish at McMahon. Calgary set up first and goal to go at the 9-yard line. Dickinson. And the ball squirts loose on the exchange with Anderson. Just about anything that could happen is going to happen tonight. Dickinson and Anderson had trouble with the exchange. The Stampeders got it back.
Anderson's going to try and take the underneath handoff, and it looked like the ball was put right down in that low arm. Whenever you're getting the ball from the quarterback, the closest arm to him is the one that's up high.
and you try and create that little basket that the quarterback just drops it into. But the running back never wants to take his eyes off the field. He doesn't want to look down at the football. I think that ball was handed to him a little low.
2nd and goal to go. Stampeders still at the 9-yard line. Dickinson shotgun. 4 receivers far side. Dickinson looks to the end zone. And he missed the target. It was Bo Richter, number 89.
There's a flag right in the middle of the field in the holding area. And I believe that's what the call will be now. Hamilton Tiger Cats will probably decline that penalty with 2nd and 9 to go for the touchdown. It would force a 3rd down and force Calgary and Wally Buono to kick the field goal. And there's the signal to decline the penalty.
Holding. Calgary number 50. Decline. 3rd down.
Couple on Jay McNeil tonight. So it's a 4-point game, 5:48.
Right off the
McMahon.
Sorry, John, right off the gun, though. Didn't you get the feeling that this might be an overtime game? Did you start to get that feeling?
Well,
First 2 series was 7-7.
Lining up again that way. If this field goal is good, it's back to 7 touchdowns.
7 points, under 5 to go. Once it starts again with Hamilton with the football. And
Mark McLaughlin has hit 12 straight field goals coming into this game. And it's good. 16-yarder there. So back to a 7-point game. Just over 5 minutes to go on CFL Live from McMahon. At one point, Ron Lancaster was down 28-7. He's still down by a touchdown, but there's lots of time left. With Danny McManus as your quarterback, despite the interception, Ronald Williams lost the ball, and he scrambled back to get it. Eddie Davis had a shot at it there, number 29 for the Stamps.
great quickness from Shante Peoples. I believe it was off the edge to close that down in a hurry, and you have to have great speed to be able to do this. But watch number 56 come around the corner and be there before Ron Williams hit the hole, and he's the guy who stripped it out. Williams just barely able to go back and recover that.
So both running backs have fumbled in their last attempts.
We're going to see almost everything here tonight, no question about it.
Loss of a couple. 2nd and 12. McManus for the Tiger Cats. Can't find a target. All day. And now he's got one. Grant on the sideline. Made a move, and he's to the 35. Corey Grant. Did that ever take a long time to develop?
Danny McManus. Okay, here we go. Let's see this offensive line at work. This is regular speed. Danny McManus, let's go. Here we go. 1 steamboat, 2 steamboats, 3 steamboats, 4 steamboats, 5 steamboats, 6 steamboats, 7 steamboats. Man, that's like playing touch football in the corner. You get 7 steamboats like that. Woo! That's good blocking up front.
Yeah, these guys have done a great job allowing just 1 sack coming into this game and 1 tonight. McManus, after a 42-yard gain, as Amerson, he was open. And Amerson has had no chances to make big plays tonight because the coverage has been so tight until right then and there.
Eddie Davis, all night long, has shut down Archie Amerson, and he finally gives him a little bit of a shake and gets open. Archie Amerson all game long has been having tons of trouble getting off that. Look at the move, though. Outside move, back to the end, and then down to the corner. The first time that he was able to get off the jam from Eddie Davis, and he can't come up with a catch.
Catchable ball.
Oh, boy, that was the first time all game he finally got in behind Davis.
So it'll be 2nd and 10, Ticats at the Stampeder 35. McManus released in a hurry this time and has Trevor Shaw, number 86, his first catch of the night. And Shaw was there for a 10-yard gain.
Well, it wasn't an easy one, and it was a big play on 2nd down, and I think he got just at 1st down yardage.
3 minutes to go, a long way from the finish in this one. Wally Buono knew it wouldn't be easy, breaking a 3-game losing streak, playing the Tiger Cats.
Hey! Hey!
What?
You know that fair catch rule they have in American football?
Yeah, man, what about it?
Doesn't work here.
Lordy. Woo, help that boy.
Enthusiasm of the young football fans here at McMahon. We'll have highlights of this with Rod Smith and David Pratt coming up on Sports Desk. The next edition right after we're done here. May take overtime to finish this one up.
They will also post some CIAU scores, and I have to say congratulations to my buddy Jay Prepchuk and the UBC Thunderbirds. Their big win here yesterday in Calgary.
And how about the Lions with a lead on the Eskimos in the fourth quarter? Those highlights coming up on Sports Desk later tonight, too. First and 10, Tiger Cats. McManus has Ronald Williams, and Williams gets inside the 15.
Now, I don't want to show any favoritism, so all of a sudden, also congratulations to the University of Manitoba, who are actually in first place in
those
Canada
Bisons.
West. Yeah.
Oh, love those Bisons.
41-7 win over the U of S. So CIAU football going strong right now as well.
38-31, Stampeders with a one-touchdown lead on the Bombers. On the Bombers and the Stampeders. McManus looks to the end zone, and he has Corey Grant for the touchdown. 14-yard touchdown strike, McManus to Corey Grant.
Can you say overtime?
I just said about 2 minutes ago.
Can you say
a
overtime?
one-point game now, convert to come.
There's a signal just in case you weren't sure if that was a touchdown or not from head coach Ron Lancaster. Seam pattern. Corey Grant goes down, and I believe Anthony Pryor was in coverage. Yes, it was Pryor. He was looking for some help from his safety, Greg Frères, who got there, but got there just a little bit too late.
.218 to go. Field goal may win this. This convert is critical. Ozzie doesn't make a mistake. So it's 38-38. McManus has tossed 5 interceptions and still found a way to get even with the Stampeders late in the fourth quarter.
5 interceptions, but over 400 yards passing. I mean, it's just that's the storybook for Danny McManus. More times than not. Throw some interceptions, no problem. Keep
2 have gotten
game.
4 touchdowns.
Well, it is
another
amazing.
one set up a touchdown for Calgary. So the Stampeders have taken advantage of turnovers.
Yeah, by the way, that interception by Jack Kellogg that went 109 yards was not a Calgary Stampeder record. That was set by Carl Anthony in 1993. He went 115 yards with a football. So Jack Kellogg's 109-yarder was 4th all-time in Calgary history, and that was the one you just talked about. But Danny McManus shook it off. One of a couple to Jack Kellogg. Anthony Pryor's got a couple.
Kellogg had a 28-yard interception for a touchdown in the first quarter.
But guess what? It's a tie game.
Yeah.
That's all Danny McManus cares about.
We talk about turnovers and how costly they can be, but McManus is back to even. And the pressure is back on the Stampeders in front of a sellout crowd or near it here at McMahon Stadium. Calgary will have the football next as the Ticats kick off. Coleman waits for it at the 5. Marvin Coleman forced out at the 40 for a nice return. And that was Osbaldiston in his 15th CFL season making the tackle. Said to him before the game he's only got 10 more years to go before retirement. Now that Louis has set the standard of 25 years of kicking.
And, of course, Louis said he will retire at the end of this year. I'll wait and see. I'll believe it when I see it. But yeah, you're right about Paul Osbaldiston. You know what? The Calgary Stampeders have struggled in the second half offensively. I think George Cortez will likely go back to what he was doing in the first half, and that was getting number 32, Calvin Anderson, involved in this offense. He had a bunch of success early without Anderson. Went away from it a little bit in the third quarter, in this fourth quarter.
Critical sequence for the Stampeders. Dickinson near side. They say no catch for Alan Pitts.
Alan Pitts moved out of bounds.
I don't know who made the call on that. Was it the official or the defender for the Ticats? Both waving it off, but I let the Ticat defender did it first.
Yeah, Chris Schilling was over there. He was the guy that you're talking about that was trying to tell the officials, no call, no way, he's out of bounds. You got to have 1 foot in bounds. There's the catch. Whoa, wait a minute. That foot is in bounds. That foot is in bounds.
Dickinson played very well in the early going of this game. He has not been as hot in the second half. And there's a penalty with 2:07 to go in a 38-38 game.
You know, Alan Pitts did not argue about that catch on the sideline, but every catch so very important in a tie football game. He really didn't argue. Let's take one more look here. If you stop it right there, he's got the ball. That left foot looks like it's inbounds to me, and it is dragging on the ground, and that foot is inbounds. Now,
you see,
did he rule that he had
ruling it out?
control?
Well,
what did he have control of the football?
Maybe that's the
and that may be, that may be what the official decided, because his foot was definitely in bounds, so they may have saw that he juggled that ball and didn't have control when he went out.
Procedure call sets it up for Calgary at 2nd and 15. Dickinson stands in and fires. Needs a first down and gets it out of midfield from Andre Arlane, number 82. Big play by Arlane.
Danny McManus, when he had the ball, got some time from his O-line and they drove it down the field. That time it was Dave Dickinson's turn, because he got a huge throwing lane from the right side. Thomas Ram and Fred Childress, 58 and 68. Watch the lane. Look at that lane. He's got to throw the football through. No one in his face can step up in there and throw a strike.
"19 yards. Stampeders needed 15. They're set up at midfield with a first down. Dickinson looks to the near side, can't find anyone home. O'Shea was there. Dickinson escaped, and again, but he finally goes down at the 52 and is sacked for the 6th time by this vicious Tiger Cat defense.
You know, Dave Dickinson at the best of times is a very patient quarterback. I always kind of compare him like he's like the surgeon. He likes to pick you apart. At that point in that play, Aubrey Cummings was open at about 4 yards, but Dickinson held on to it, didn't dump it off to him, decided to look down the field. There was coverage down the field. That's why he got caught. He might have got a little bit greedy on that play, looking down the field for a whole bunch of yards.
He lost 3, 2nd and 13. This is huge for the Stampeders with 1:19 to go. They're definitely out of field goal range and need a first down here. Charges on. Dickinson stands in, and he one-hopped it for Alan Pitts. So now they'll have to kick and hope to pin the Tiger Cats as deep as possible.
You know what? Straight up, Alan Pitts has been struggling of late. And, you know, you can put some of it on Troy Kopp over the last couple of weeks, because Troy Kopp and his inexperience really couldn't find Alan Pitts. And even last week when we did the game, we showed Alan Pitts many times that he was open and Kopp couldn't find him. But
those aren't Alan Pitts kind of numbers, 45 yards.
No, and over the last 3 games coming into this one, less than 100 and just 6 catches. That's just not Alan Pitts type of numbers.
It's all even. The game is on the line at 38-38. Ticats get the ball. Huge kick by Tony Martino, and Hamilton will be pinned deep inside the 10-yard line. Amerson couldn't find much more than 5 yards, actually about 4 on the return. So Martino hammers it deep, and now Danny McManus has a minute left, and all he needs is a field goal to win this thing after falling behind 28-7 after throwing 5 interceptions in this game. This is not out of reach for McManus, and if he can't get it done, we're going to overtime.
Well, that's the thing that I think Danny McManus got to think about when he comes on the field right now, is that there's a minute left. You need a couple of first downs at the very least to get to overtime, because you're so far back in your end of the field. Obviously, you don't want to force the ball and throw a turnover down here. He does have time to move it down into field goal range. The first couple of plays are key in this series.
Don't forget, he doesn't have his #1 receiver, Darren Flutie, in the lineup. McManus looks down the sideline and overthrew his target, Ronald Williams.
Okay, so he takes one shot at a whole bunch of yardage to try and win the game on this series. Now the thinking may shift a little bit. Thinking may shift to, we need a first down or 2, keep possession of the football, and try and get the game to overtime. You know, and you know, all quarterbacks will be saying, no way. If there's time on the clock, I'm moving it down into field goal range. But it's a very tough situation when you're on your own 10-yard line to try and force the football, maybe cause a turnover.
And the running game has not been all that effective, so draw plays.
Look, McManus has no backs in the backfield. Forget about the running game.
Thinking about that. He's sending everyone. Little hitch pass to Morreale. Now it's up to Morreale to make the first down. He can't. Not even close. Wrapped up by Azu. Down by Azu made the tackle.
That's huge. Now here's the deal, because they can't get one first down, which means Calgary Stampeders will get the ball. Not only will they get the ball around midfield, but they're going to get the ball with time for 2, 3, 4 plays and field goal range.
So Osbaldiston comes in.
You know, Tony Martino made one of the biggest plays of this game with that last punt.
Huge punt, pinning them inside the 10 at the 9-yard line. So now it's up to Ozzie to come up with something, but he'll be standing on his own goal line with Coleman back. And Aubrey Cummings as well, standing near midfield. So with any return at all, Stampeders should be a first down away from trying a field goal. Coleman. And he's inside the 50. So 40 seconds for Dave Dickinson to get within range. And he's almost there after a 9-yard return.
Well, he really is. I mean, the longest so far for Mark McLaughlin this season has been 52 yards. He's hitting on 90% of his field goals. So obviously they're very comfortable, even with long ones, with Mark McLaughlin, who right now is trying to get in the zone on the sideline, visualizing that kick, seeing it go through the upright from no matter where they are.
40 seconds to go. Tie ball game. Stampeders with a chance to win. Dickinson looks to put it up, and he couldn't find anyone anywhere, so he bounced it off the 5-yard line.
Well, he's trying to save all the time he can, and he's trying to not obviously prevent the loss. And the clock in his head, that imaginary time clock in his head, said it's time to get rid of the football. Now, he didn't have a whole lot of pressure, but he let go of it anyway.
Mark McLaughlin's longest career field goal, 58 yards.
Right now, it would be a 54-yard attempt if they don't get another inch.
McLaughlin coming into the game and hit on 12 straight.
Everyone wants to be a kicker till right now.
34 seconds to go. The game is even at 38-38. It's the Stampeders to win right now. First down would be nice for Calgary.
Oh,
and that's batted down.
Well,
so they'll have to try the field goal on 3rd down here.
Jeff Cummins makes it a long attempt. He got his hands up there, knocked it down, because it would have taken about 10 yards out of this field goal attempt by Mark McLaughlin. Dickinson again gets a little bit of pressure up the front from Word, and there's Cummins timing his jump and knocking the ball down. He got up there. Now, actually, you know what? The Calgary Stampeders, rather than attempt a long field goal, are going to punt it. Now, what? I don't think that Mark McLaughlin, I mean, he's in his range. The only thing is, if you miss on a long field goal,
the chance of the return is
much greater than on a punt return.
So Akins is back. Martino is in, punting from his 50. So the Stampeders wasted a couple of plays, and the Ticats will get it back. 29 seconds still left. I feel like it's overtime. Martino doesn't hammer this one as deep. Markers are down, and the Ticats will have 21 seconds and a few extra yards tacked onto that.
There's
Hamilton
still time.
may get a chance to win it.
There's still time. They're going to get the no yards, and it's not going to be the bounce no yards either. It's Tony Atkins caught that ball in the air.
No yards. Calgary. First down.
And they march it out across the 25 to the 27-yard line. 21 seconds for McManus.
Well, Danny McManus needs one big play, but you certainly don't want to punt it back to Calgary.
No. Not at this stage. Well, we've seen just about everything tonight.
First game of the regular season for the Hamilton Tiger Cats was against the BC Lions. Went into overtime. They lost in overtime against BC. And they're just going to be content to take it to overtime, go down a couple of times, and try and eat up the rest of this game. Not a bad decision. Why risk anything right down here? You get the ball pulled out of there, and Calgary lines up, kicks a field goal automatically. So very sound coaching decision from Ron Lancaster if he can get rid of, you know, the 16 seconds left on the clock.
New CFL overtime shootout format. will come into play 6 seconds from now. And that'll do it for regular time. We're going to overtime at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. I wouldn't have thought we would be several times tonight when the Stampeders had a 28-7 lead in the second quarter. But now it's 38-38. The Ticats have found a way to battle back.
Well, now this overtime format really comes down to who can be most successful in the red zone, and that's what it is. You get the ball in the 35, and who can make it getting into pay dirt.
Overtime coming up on CFL Live from Calgary. Wally Bueno versus Ron Lancaster and a good old Western shootout in the CFL.
Ball first. It's going to be the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Maximum of 4 possessions. You get a first down, you keep the football until you get to the end zone or kick a field goal or a single point. Then the other team gets a crack at it. If they don't match the points, you win the football game. Each team now has a point in the standings. The winner gets that extra point.
So Ticats first possession. Danny McManus looks for the long ball and can't connect with Akins on the far side.
Now the only time that is relevant in the overtime format, the only time that's relevant in the overtime format is the 20 seconds in the huddle. You see the wheel route right there by Tony Akins. Gets a little push from Jack Kellogg. Can't gather that football.
Yeah, and he got turned around.
So the 20-second clock for the huddle is really the only relevant time in overtime. The clock is now stopped.
And no wind at McMahon right now. It hasn't been all evening, so when you start at the 35, you're in range for a field goal. If this play does not work for a first down. Here's the heat. McManus unloads, and I think he comes up a little bit short of the first down as Tony Akins made the catch.
Well, most teams, when they do the overtime and talking to most of the coaches around the league, what they want to do is play defense first. Because then you know what you have to do to match. Exactly. What you have to match or beat. So if, in other words, if the Hamilton Tiger Cats in this first possession come up with a field goal, then Wally Buono's decisions change when he gets the football. If he's 3rd and 2, he kicks a field goal to match. He doesn't gamble. If he needs a touchdown, obviously gambles. It takes the decisions out of it. Now, Hamilton's close enough right now that they're going to take a crack at the first down.
So in overtime, the Ticats go gambling. 3rd down. A yard to go.
A full yard.
Interesting call here.
Oh,
he might not have made it. Calgary Stampeders might have held Ronald Williams.
No, sir.
I don't think he made it.
Not tonight. Whoa.
And Lancaster knows it. That gamble did not pay off. I haven't seen that happen in overtime.
Mike Roach, defensive coordinator, pretty fired up about that, and I guess so. What a huge play in this game. Now, obviously, Hamilton has to come away with at least a field goal, but that's all they need to win this game. A huge stand with just 1 yard to go from that defense of the Calgary Stampeders. Wow, they got a great surge on the right side of their defensive line, and there was no place for Ron Williams to take that football. The line of scrimmage started a yard in front of where it finished. Coleman was celebrating, but it was those big guys up front that did the work.
The flashy guy, number 17. So now, Stampeders have 3 cracks at a first down, or they could go for the field goal right away if they wanted, but they'll get a little bit closer.
Well, what they'll do is they'll stay conservative, though. They can keep the ball on the ground to Kelvin Anderson, try and get the football into the middle of the field. Now, the other thing, now they're going to put the big guys in right now, and they're going to play the Elephants. What they'll try and do is get Kelvin Anderson to the middle of the field and line up the Mark McLaughlin field goal attempt. If they send him in now, which could be an option as well, then they do one thing. If a snap is bobbled or there's a problem, they have one more down to kick it again, and I think that's what they will do.
Yeah, they've got McLaughlin into the game now. Ball spotted at the 30-yard line, so McLaughlin...
You know, and this is a good decision, John, because here's what it is. If Dave Dickinson drops a snap, they can line up again on 3rd down and give it another shot.
They can recover the ball and take another kick at it, as it were.
Rather than waste a down and just try and get the football into the middle of the field.
Timeout on the field. This has been a long day for statistician Dave Moyer, who started with us in Toronto this morning, stopped off in Winnipeg, did a quick game for the other network, and now he's into overtime doing his second CFL game of the day here.
We got a doubleheader going.
So now McLaughlin misses this. We're going a little longer.
On second down for a 37-yard.
Well, he's been visualizing it since about a minute and a half in regulation.
Osbaldiston is one in the end zone. Dickinson will put it down. McLaughlin will put it up. It is good. The Stampeders win the game in overtime. Mark McLaughlin hammers it through, and the Stampeders come away with a 41-38 victory. Wally Buono ends a 3-game losing streak. Lancaster lost on a gamble and had his chances to win this game. But I suppose, in fairness, when your quarterback throws 5 interceptions, perhaps the right team won this one tonight.
Mark McLaughlin got the winning 3 points, but give credit to that defensive line for the Calgary Stampeders. They won the game in overtime.
Well, let's give the game ball to Jackie Kellogg. He didn't do much tonight except score 2 touchdowns on interceptions. 1 for 28 yards to make it 21-7, and 1 for 109 yards to make it 35-28. So Kellogg gets the Adidas game ball from Glenn Suter and John Wells in Calgary tonight.
Well, just before we leave this game, we should update everybody quickly. BC's up right now 26-14 on Edmonton. Big game for the Calgary Stampeders to snap that 3-game losing streak.
Yeah, and how do you figure out the CFL these days? Winnipeg knocks off Montreal 30-27 today. Picking these games has not been easy for Tillman and Schultz and Dunnigan, has it?
No, it's making it tough on them.
So the turning points.
Well, no question in my mind, but
brought to you tonight by the fluid experts at Mr. Lube.
Let's take you right to overtime. 3rd down gamble, 1 yard away from first down territory, and Ron Williams is denied by a Calgary defense. A defensive line, give credit to Ray Jacobs, who quietly had a huge game. He stuffs it up the middle. Huge defensive effort for the Calgary Stampeders. They won the game for them tonight.
A cash donation we made to the Canadian Coaches Association for the training and development of coaches in amateur sport across Canada by the fluid experts at Mr. Lube, doing it right before your eyes.
CFL football on TSN is brought to you by Molson Canadian. I am Canadian.
So this one ends like the '98 Grey Cup. How'd you do in your picks this week, Matt?
Yeah. Pretty good.
Quickly, before we leave you, let us update you on the other game going on tonight. Glenn just told you the score 26-14 it is for the Lions. Under 3 minutes left in that football game. Our next game is next Friday. This should be great. The Rollin' Riders, winners of 4 in a row, hosting the Stamps. In the interim, check out tsn.ca/CFL.